Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the April 16th, 2025 meeting of the Daytona Beach City Commission. We're happy and delighted to have each of you with us. At this time, I would ask Madam Clerk for a roll call.
Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Paris?
Here.
Commissioner Strickland?
Here.
Commissioner May? Here. Commissioner Cantu?
Here.
Commissioner Henry?
Present.
Mayor Derek L. Henry?
Here.
Get that motion to
A motion to allow for Commissioner to participate virtually.
Motion to allow Commissioner Reed to work remotely with us tonight.
Second.
We take a motion from Commissioner Strickland and a second from Commissioner Paris. Do we have any questions or comments? All right, we have a motion, second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. This motion carries 7-0.
Okay, we're going to move on to item number 4, which is approval of the minutes of the March 19, 2025 City Commission meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Well, okay, thank you for your enthusiasm. We have a motion from Commissioner Paris. I'll take a motion, second from Commissioner Cantu. All right, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0. At this time, we will have our agenda approval. If there are any changes, our city manager will address them.
Yes, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, item number 8B, City Manager's Office Mayoral / Zone Support Fund Distribution. Add $2,000 to the Filipino American Association of Volusia County from Commissioner Juanita May. $3,900 to the Fresh Book Festival from Commissioner Paula Reed. $500 to She's Covered Corp from Commissioner Paula Reed. $827 to Triple Fit Inc. from Commissioner Paula Reed. $1,500 to T&R Helping Hands Corp. Commissioner Henry. Item number 8C, the Finance Department Bike Week Sponsorship Funds. Remove $5,000 from Commissioner Ken Strickland and move to item 8B, City Manager's Office Mayoral Zone Support Fund Distribution. Item number 11A, City Manager's Office Code Enforcement Board Appointment. Jeff Stewart has withdrawn his application. That concludes the agenda changes.
I just have a point of clarification. Is it an additional $3,900 for the Fresh Book Festival? Because it's on here already. It's on the agenda already. I just wanted to.
It's already on the agenda.
Yeah, it looks
Yeah.
like it's already on the agenda. Okay.
No, it's not an addition. And this is for Commissioner Reed. This is for the
For our summer Parks and Recs camp for the children.
correct. The summer. This is towards the Parks and Rec program with. Is it Cornbread?
Yes,
Okay.
Cornbread Educational Program.
Educational
through
program.
Fresh Book.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Do we have any additional questions or comments?
I don't think I have a motion yet.
No.
Second.
Well, we'll take a motion from Commissioner Strickland and a second from Commissioner Cantu. Now that we do have that established, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
We're going to move on to item number 6, which is our presentations. Item 6A is a proclamation on Fair Housing Month for April 2025. Mayor Derek R. Henry to present to John Miller of the Daytona Beach Area Association of Realtors.
Okay. Fair Housing Month. Whereas the Fair Housing Act enacted on April 11th, 1968, enshrined in the federal law, the goal of eliminating racial segregation and ending housing discrimination in the United States. Whereas the Fair Housing Act prohibits discrimination in housing based on race, color, religion, sex, familial status, national origin, and disability, and commits recipients of federal funding to affirmatively further fair housing in their communities. And whereas Daytona Beach is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all. And whereas our social fabric, the economy, health, and environment are strengthened in diverse, inclusive communities. And whereas more than 50 years after the passage of the Fair Housing Act, discrimination persists and many communities remain segregated. And whereas acts of housing discrimination and barriers to equal housing opportunity are repugnant to a common sense of decency and fairness. Now, therefore, I, Derek L. Henry, Mayor of the City of Daytona Beach, and on behalf of the City Commission, do hereby proudly proclaim the month of April 2025 as Fair Housing Month. In the City of Daytona Beach, Florida, as an inclusive community committed to fair housing and to promoting appropriate activities by private and public entities to provide and advocate for equal housing opportunities for all residents and prospective residents of Daytona Beach. In witness whereof I hereunto set my hand and cause the seal of the City of Daytona Beach to be affixed this 4th day of April 2025. And I would add that never have I read a proclamation that I agree with any more than this proclamation, one that I believe that Martin Luther King Jr., who gave his life in pursuit of this noble and righteous cause, is happy glad in heaven about.
Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
We're going to move on to item 6B, which is the coastal nourishment presentation presented to us by the Volusia County Councilman Matt Reinhardt.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you very much for the time to present this. Just to give you a little history first, I'm going to keep this very brief. You have a very long agenda, so we're not going to keep it like a county council meeting. That I promise. So, and notice the laughs. Everyone's aware of that. So, didn't know what I was getting into. So, back in 2022, everybody remembers the horrific storms that took place that devastated this area in the coastal area of mostly here in Daytona Beach shores, and Ponce Inlet, that were affected tremendously by those storms. As a result, shortly thereafter, the governor did present Volusia County with a check for $37.6 million for the purpose of renourishment for those vital areas that were mostly affected. Since then, we've received another batch of money, the two batches, I'll leave it at that. I like that word, total about $75 million. So with that money, we have committed to a project with the Army Corps of Engineers and FIND, the Florida Inland Navigational District, to start a dredging project. Normally about every 5-6 years, as you're aware, the Army Corps of Engineers does a dredging project of the Intercoastal Waterway for the purpose of navigational for boat traffic. They have done the last one that they did up in the Rattlesnake Island area, and I'll get to that in a minute. By the way, that's not an area I ever want to visit, just with the name Rattlesnake. But That was back in 2005 or 2006. So it's not often that they do this. And I can tell you that it is not often that they change their permit. We had asked them, normally they take that sand that they dredge, that beach compatible sand, and they drop it off anywhere from 8 to 12 feet of water out in the Atlantic Ocean. That serves us no purpose in here. You can say, well, you'll get that natural accretion of sand back, but it takes time to do that. And we're in desperate need of it now. So we were able to convince them, which was hard to do, to take that beach compatible sand and pump it off of that barge onto the shoreline here in Daytona Beach, or actually in Ponce Inlet where we wound up. That required getting easement signed so we could have the purpose of dredging in front of that, laying the pipe, so to speak, up to the area that were most devastated. The next obstacle that we had to face was working with Fish and Wildlife. Because of the sea turtle area, a lot of people were in the process of rebuilding their seawalls to help protect their property. A lot of those projects initially were stopped because of the sea turtle. Activity in that area. We were able to convince FWC that to allow us to continue to work. They said, okay, but if you see a sea turtle nest, all work stops. And we said, well, we're going to see that. So let's talk again. So we took another trip to Tallahassee. We were able to convince them to allow us with a 20-foot buffer around any sea turtle nest that's identified. So those are three major obstacles that we were able to overcome between the state and the federal government. I thought was instrumental in getting this project moving along, in addition to the dredging project. Now going back to it. The dredging project that we will do with the entire intercoastal waterway initially believed to produce about 700,000 cubic yards of beach compatible sand. We have since revisited that, and it will actually produce about 900,000 cubic yards of beach compatible sand. So we got with the cost of that's associated with that. There was money left over. So there is a second project that we will undertake with the Army Corps that will attack the shoals of that area up in the inlet area. That will produce anywhere from 1.7 to 2.2 million cubic yards of beach compatible sand. So initially, where that 700 or 900,000 cubic yards would have gone as far north as Sunglow Pier, will now travel even farther north, hopefully to able to accommodate everything that was affected all the way up to Ormond Beach. Ormond didn't sustain as much damage as we did down here, but it will address those. The next project that we just approved with that money that we took $7.5 million that we approved for the expenditure of hiring a trucking company, because once the sand is pumped off of the barge, it comes in a liquefied form. Obviously, as it as it settles, it becomes that sand that we need. We have to find a way to bring it to those vulnerable areas. So we took a competitive bidding process. Fortunately, the one that was low bid did not complete the process accurately, so we went with the next highest, which the benefit from that is a local company. Halifax Paving won that, so they will be the ones to truck that sand north for us. Not only will they truck it north, but they will also help build those dunes. At the same time, we applied for a grant for, trying to think of the name of the company, bear with me, I apologize. The National Fish and Wildlife Foundation, which is a private 501c3 approved by the Secretary of Interior, that will produce about $2.5 million to purchase sea native plants to plant into the dune area. Initially, my plan, what I'd like to have done was there was a NOAA grant that was going to become available, which was a multi-million, about 20 or 23 million that we could have used. I wanted to be able to build greenhouses for the purpose of growing those beach native plants for future storm events, because I've always said, as everyone does, it's not when or if, it's when another storm will attack our area. So that's where we're at right now. The dredging actually starts. The pipes are already in place this week. The dredging will start the latter part of this week or early next week, and will continue probably through November. Hopefully we can get this project done and those sand placed in that area before. Unfortunately, it's going to not be this storm event, because things don't move as fast as we would all like them to. So, but hopefully by next year. And then I kept it short, I promise. See?
Is there comments for
I
me?
do.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds like that's a wonderful project. Any projects for Daytona Beach?
So the beach, this beach project that is underway will continue all the way north, all the way up to Ormond Beach.
That's
So
from
those
the
areas,
that's from the 7.5 million?
that's from the total 80 million. I mean, this
That's
is the 7.5 million that we just approved from that 75 million. You take the $75 million that we are receiving, 7.5, it has to be done in increments that we approved. That 7.5 was for the trucking of that sand and for the pipes to be laid to start the process. We'll do incremental approvals from that money as we truck it north, but as that money that you're referring to, that 7.5 will continue and truck it all the way north.
Because, I was on the beach last week, right there behind the, what's that? The, boardwalk? Not the boardwalk. What's further, band shell. And that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Like, I think we really need to get on top of that. Have you been over there
Yes,
recently?
ma'am. I have. I was there this last
We
weekend.
just got this big gap, and then there's just this. They gated it off just a little bit with a little silver thingy, and then whoever had been there had pulled it out. So I just thought to myself, "Oh wow, this is a lawsuit waiting to happen."
That
So
would be
I-
probably identified as one of the most vulnerable areas that I referred to. Some of the areas that were down in Ponce Inlet where the sand will actually be stockpiled. Obviously, they'll start at that area and then work their way north. The beauty of being able to identify more beach-compatible sand from the shoals gives us that opportunity to feed those areas north to include Daytona, all the way north, like I said, to Ormond Beach, or Ormond by the Sea.
All right.
I see they're working hard right now.
Yeah, they are. And it's going to be a quick process. I was thoroughly pleased with the fact that when you talk about rebuilding those areas like you saw that is most vulnerable, that Halifax Paving agreed to help build some of the sand dunes back. That's work that we don't have to do. Now, also at the same time, which it will coincide, I know it doesn't pertain to this area, but the jetty dune out there by Ponce Inlet, that project that was really devastated from the storms, county and some of the our local contractors are in the process right now of rebuilding that. So that, of course, is a county area that we own, so we want to make sure that we get that. But we're taking the opportunity at the same time. When we identified the additional 1.7 or 2.2 million, we said, listen, while you're here, while you have that boat out there, we would like to continue this process. We have the money set aside that we can approve rather quickly to accommodate that.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank Councilman Reinhardt for accepting the invitation to come, because I know not a lot, but some residents think that the beach is Daytona Beach, but it is the county. So I
Many
just wanted to
residents
give
think that.
this opportunity for you to let our residents know what's being done in Daytona
Absolutely.
Beach. So
we
thank you very
love
much.
working with all of our cities. But this is Daytona, Ponce Inlet, Shores. It's all my district, and I love the opportunity. I was asked to come out here to be able to convey that, and would love to do so in the future as we see more progress with these projects.
Well, I want to let you know that the invitation is open for you to anytime you want to present or let us know about things that are impacting our city. You're welcome to come and
I
let us know.
appreciate that. Thank you, sir.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Yeah, that area is bad.
We're going to move on to item 6C. It's a Public Works Department, the Beautification Tree Advisory Board Awards. A member of the Beautification Tree Advisory Board to present.
Mayor Henry,
Yes,
members of
ma'am.
the City Commission, Mr. Theater. My name is Sharon Weatherholtz. I live at 3 Granville Circle. I am the Zone 1 member on the Beautification Board. The Beautification Board has selected Mr. David Moss and Ms. Silvana Souza as the Residential Beautification Award winner for the month of April of 2025. David and Silvana have been residents in Daytona Beach for 4 years. They are small, but they're mighty. They've taken really good care of this property, and they're very proud. Types of the trees and shrubs and plants used for the beautification include agapanthus, snake plants, blue daisies, and there's a whole bunch of other ones in these pictures. I think those are pentas. Anyway, David and Silvana had a last-minute emergency and will not be able to accept the award.
So what our office will do, we'll accept it on their behalf and make sure that they get it.
Okay.
Okay.
And if you want to pass it down.
Okay.
I just want to thank Sharon also for going from beachside to mainland to find houses that are beautifying themselves.
Yes.
And hopefully it catches on to everybody. It's beautiful.
Any commissioner that sees a house or a business or anything that they think has done a good job, we would love the recommendations.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to item 6D, which is the impact fee study presented by Raftellus Consultants.
Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, as Natalia, our CFO, comes forward, the impact fee study, you all requested that staff get a consultant to come and provide an impact fee study. This has been things that have been discussed for numerous years. The consultants are here. This is not a night for you all to vote on the actual study, but to hear the recommendations from our consultants and from the team. Natalia will introduce the members of our team that worked on that, and then we'll bring something back to you all in the future in reference to what they presented. So, Natalia.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. I would like to introduce Joe Williams. He is a senior manager with Raftellus Consulting Group. And they did very comprehensive study. As you know, we haven't done studies since 2006. So we had to cover many years. A lot of information, a lot of data was requested from the city staff. And almost each department was involved in this project. And I would like to thank those departments, their directors, Chief Young, Chief Driscoll, everybody were involved. And of course, our consulting company, Raftellus. And Joe, now floor is yours.
Thank you, Natalia. Mayor, Commission, thank you for having us. So we're going to walk you through, I think there's a presentation. There we go. Perfect. Okay, great. Great, thank you. We're going to walk you through generally impact fees, introduce them. It's been a while since you've had a study done. Talk about our approach a little bit, try to stay higher level on the primary projects and components of your capital plan that are going to be impacting the outcome on the fee study. So we're going to start off, we have municipal and impact and utility impact fees. Starting off with the municipal, that's police, fire, parks and recreation, and general government, public facility. So you have these impact fees. They've been in place since 2006. And obviously over the past 19 to 20 years, the city has changed dramatically. There's been a lot of growth, a lot of new development, a lot of things happening in the city. So we've gone through a comprehensive process. We've evaluated all your assets that you have in place now. We've worked closely with staff on looking at what's going to be done over the next 5 or 10 years to continue improving, expanding the facilities that you offer through police, fire, parks, and general government. And, by updating impact fees, these are fees that are paid one time during the development process generally by the builder or developer who's building a single family home or a new commercial property. So if you're collecting your fair share and adequate amount of costs from those developers up front from their project, it's ultimately less money that you have to derive from taxes to do improvements. So it reduces the burden on your residents. And there is a Florida statute, as referenced there, in various case law that applies to impact fees. So basics, again, this is one-time charge, and really it's intended to fund capital investments. So it's new capital investments that are related to growth. So we're not replacing old assets. We're not correcting deficiencies. So if we're already, say, low on a certain offering in parks, or if we felt like we didn't have enough police officers. We cannot charge growth to correct those deficiencies. And we're not funding operating and maintenance costs either. And then there's the dual rational nexus test that's been proven through Florida statutes and case law. So a few key phrases, you really you want to have a study done, a comprehensive study. And these are going to be in place. It's going to be impact fees for the next 4 or 5 years, most likely once you make an adoption, pursuant to limitations on the statute. We've used the most recent local data available. So the methodology, again, high level, we look at all of the investments that you've made in these facilities over the past 20, 30 years, things that are still in service now, and future investments that are going to be made. For example, new fire stations, upgrades to fire stations, expansions to fire stations, police, substations, new parks. You just had a park master plan presentation recently that's been incorporated. And then we look at the amount of development that's happening, and we divide the cost through to come up with average costs for different types of development. So we'll jump right into police. You have a police headquarters, and really what's happening in police is relatively minor on the future needs of that department. There is we had a lot of discussions and meetings with staff on the capital programs. And as growth continues in the western portion of the city, police has identified that another substation out in that area. And then future vehicles, as you continue growing, you have to continue increasing the size of your police force. And you can use impact fees to pay for a vehicle associated with hiring a new officer as you expand the department. So based on the existing investments that you've made, much of which has happened since 2006 when your initial impact fees were in place, so that hasn't necessarily been fully captured in your impact fee calculation until now. You can see there's a long list of non-residential land uses. On the top, where we typically focus the discussion is on the single family, so per dwelling unit, per single family home. Currently charging about $375. It does vary by the size of the house. $375 is the historical average size throughout the city. We're taking it more to a single fee for all new single family homes, $559. So you can see off to the right, that's about a 50% increase. Mm-hmm. And then as you get down the list on non-residential, there's varying impacts, some up, some down. Again, the existing is based on a study from 2006. A lot of the different underlying data that's used to support identifying land uses and different differential demands has changed over that time. So we're using the most recent data available, which lends itself to some of those varying changes. So that's the police impact fees. Fire, this one's going to be relatively the most significant impact, and it's largely driven by the amount of funds that need to be invested in the fire department over the next 5 to 10 years. So you have your new Fire Station 1 that has been it's in the process now. You've gone out for bond funding. You have the funding in place, so that's a major investment. It's going to provide increased capacity of that station. And then there's 2 additional stations that have been identified as the city, again, continues to grow and expand, and you need to have fire stations in closer relationship to have the right response times, targeted response times, ISO ratings, all those things that the city's committed to doing. And then outfitting those stations with new fire trucks, ambulances, ladder trucks, et cetera. So what that impact fee looks like is your existing is $220, which I'll say throughout the state, $220 is really on the low end for a fire impact fee. And again, it's from 2006, so that's kind of the nature of where that fee is from. Calculated for a single family home, going to $744. Relatively a large increase, you can see it's $500, $524 per home. And then again, varying impacts on non-residential, generally increasing because the fees are going up. The amount of investment is going up. Parks and Recreation, we focused on the high priority master plan projects. I'm not going to go into detail on all those, but those from the master plan cost estimates were about $37 million of additional investment identified in those several projects, in addition to the 34 million in existing assets that you have now. And when we piece it together, your existing fee is about $1,600 going to $1,800. So you can see that's a right around $200 increase, 12%, 12.5%. So not as big of an impact, but it does increase the fee, provides additional funding as you do those projects over time. And then general government facilities, you have City Hall, you have Public Works buildings, you have several other city-owned buildings, and the key ones in the capital improvement plan over the next 5 to 10 years, Public Works, upgrade, kind of rebuild, expansion of their facility, and then a City Hall expansion has been identified as well. So you see the cost estimates there, about $36 million combined for those two. And when we look at that fee, again, on the residential side, it about justifies the fee that you have in place. So, 2006 relative to the investments and growth that were anticipated at that time, we're about in line there. But you can see that generally there's a transition of, non-residential is kind of going down. Residential is going up in this case. And again, that's just based on demand, underlying factors that contribute throughout the whole study. So a summary, existing an average size single-family home, about a little less than 2,000 square feet, currently pays about $2,900 in police, fire, parks, general government impact fees. And I will say here that we are also updating the roads impact fees. We're using a sub-consultant to do that who specializes in roads. He has some preliminary results. They weren't quite ready for this presentation, but we're working through that process. And by the time an ordinance comes back to you, that will be included. But we're going $2,800, $2,900 to $3,800. So you can see the $900 increase per single family home, 32% overall. And, working with staff and somewhat in constraints with the Florida statutes, we've identified a phasing program where if the commission wanted to look at an alternative to going to the full fees right away, there's a phasing program identified. This would be equal increments over a 4-year period to ease the burden on potential development. I'll introduce it here a little bit towards the bottom. Extraordinary circumstances. Okay. Within the Florida statutes, there's been several items added over the past 4 or 5 years, sort of complicating the adoption process. And right now, if you just read through the statute, there are limitations on how much you can increase impact fees over 2 or 4 years, up to a maximum of 50%. And then there's a clause for extraordinary circumstances, which is not identified, but if you have reasonable arguments, you can work through that process. It takes 2 extra public workshops in addition to the 2 normal ordinance readings. Typically, they happen before second reading of the ordinance. And you talk about the extraordinary circumstances. In your case, it really would be a discussion revolving around the tremendous investment in fire-related stations and the cost of those fire stations being so different than what it has been in the past. You got two $10 million stations plus your Station 1, which is kind of a totally different type of building. It's much larger than a typical fire station will be. So that is something to consider is, if you were going to go for adopting the full fees in one shot, or even doing a phasing program like this, where you take that fire fee higher than a 50% increase over the next 4 years, you need to work through those extraordinary circumstance workshops. And then we also need a supermajority vote when it comes to first and second reading, 2/3 vote. So that's the phasing plan. For just the police, fire, parks, general government impact fees, this is a comparison with many other East Coast and Central Florida area communities. And again, there's a lot more that goes in impact fees than just police, fire, parks, and general government. So we'll talk about utilities in just a moment. Some communities charge roads. Some of the bigger impact fees that are paid by new development are from the county for schools. Schools are generally a really big one, so that different by county, not included here. But you can see that you're currently in kind of the upper mid-range, and you do increase relative to where you are now. But we did want to present that there are other communities, not just on the Central Florida East Coast, so Oviedo, St. Cloud, Claremont, who have impact fees in excess of where you are. And those are not the only ones. There's plenty of others that are higher than that $3,800 level as well. So going to utilities now. Again, talk about the primary investments that the utility has identified. They keep a 10-year CIP, and there is a lot of work that they are hoping to do over the next 10 years. So upgrading their water plants, upsizing mains as new development happens, as some of the colleges expand, upsizing their mains so that they can get the water where it needs to be. There's a lot of regulatory considerations on water and wastewater right now. Discharging to the water bodies no longer going to be allowed, so they have to find other ways to use that water when it comes out of the wastewater plant. And then, the wastewater plants, there's various treatment upgrades. There's capacity locations that need to be considered. So you have, 2 primary wastewater plants, and they want to do a little bit more interconnecting to make sure they can fully utilize all the capacity that's available, which is going to be a lot more cost effective than building new wastewater plants or expanding wastewater plants. That has become extremely expensive over the past 3 or 4 years. So everything here, larger scale, but nothing is out of reason from what we see in the water sewer industry. And so the impacts to the fee, and here we call these capital facility fees, very similar to the municipal impact fees. But we're going here from $4,550 for a typical single-family home in an ERU equivalent residential unit to $5,685. So that's an increase of about $1,100, 25%. We do not have a phasing plan presented here, but it is something that you could consider if you were going to look at phasing fees or managing those increases. So a comparison on the utility, this is just water sewer, and just in a moment we'll show you everything combined. So just water sewer, you can see you're kind of lower middle on that same peer group. The calculated fee, that full fee, is upper middle. So, increasing, but in the ballpark with where everybody else is. And then a combined utility and municipal. Right now you're $7,300, increasing by $1,100 on utilities and $900 on the municipal, so about $2,000. Takes you to about $9,500 combined. So you can see that again, even with that increase, you're still really in the ballpark with what others are doing. You're going to be generating more money for especially those fire stations and investments that are going to be required over the next 5 to 10 years. And that is the presentation. Yeah, I'm more than happy to take any questions and discussion.
Do anyone have any questions?
I don't have any questions, but I think we're going to need some workshops on this. I'm looking at the police and fire department. I mean, our police station, our police officers don't even have a fire range. I mean, and we're going to build new fire stations. I mean, they're still driving Vics and Impalas. It's an embarrassment for the size of our city. I think there should be a lot of discussion before we approve any kind of impact fees compared to the police and the fire department. I'm sorry, but that's my
When you say
personal opinion.
compared to,
Yeah, I was looking at the impact fees on there, and he keeps mentioning the fire department. I mean, our police out there, I mean, what is our population right now?
86,000.
Yeah, and I mean, we don't even have a fire station. I think there needs some more substations out in the west side. I mean, I've looked at the calls that happens. I just think there needs to be a lot more discussion that we need to get into that we can't get into tonight.
Okay.
Saying the impact fees aren't, need to go up a little bit more? Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I mean, it didn't.
I thought so too.
Huh?
I actually was questioning that also.
Yes.
Didn't seem like, but you're talking 20 years.
Right.
Talking 20 years, and I looked at the numbers, and we know you need 2 fire stations. I couldn't look at it and think, oh, we don't need that. But get to $10 million, and I didn't think it was enough just looking at it. But I know you have a procedure. Then when you talk about it, we don't want to put ourselves outside of the market. But I've said this, we also want to realize that we have to make sure that we have the resources to be able to do the things that we need to be able to do in order to handle the growth that has already transpired.
Correct.
And that which will continue.
That's
so I'm
what
not
I
out of
think.
agreement with
I
your
think
thoughts.
we have to have some more discussions because I think our police department is suffering right now. I mean, and it's getting ready to even happen with the sheriff's department, bringing in all these raises and everything. I mean, we don't have enough people as it is out there for the amount of people that we have living in our city. I mean, they don't have the resources that they need. I just think we need to talk about this a little bit more.
So if I'm understanding you, you were mentioning that we cannot actually raise it beyond a certain amount because there are
Right, the
statutes
state.
presenting that, right? Stopping it from happening?
There are limitations unless you pursue extraordinary circumstances.
Okay.
Which-
Is there a catch-up policy? So for cities who have not done this in a number of years, is there any kind of catch-up provision at all?
No.
No. Okay.
Not their fault that you didn't, I guess they're saying not your fault, their fault that you didn't keep up with the times. But I guess it's how reasonable, how often does it transpire that we should be doing this?
According to the statute, they say you can't update impact fees more than once every 4 years. So we have several communities there's been a lot of folks who 06, 07 was the last impact fee study.
And we know why, right? We know why, right?
Right.
What happened then. So we do have to remember that. You know, we went through a time when people were not building anything. And as Daytona Beach, we have to look at our history. I mean, for years, we were the only city on the eastern seaboard with a negative growth rate. So it hadn't always been that we've been having the growth that we're currently having. But anyway, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And so we've had several communities since 2018, 19, when they started increasing that have come back a second time already.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
keep up as, costs have increased post-COVID and growth continues to accelerate.
So we're a little bit behind. You're not going to say that, but that's the way we feel. And we've wanted this, so we're there. I think we need to do what we need to do to move forward, have the conversation, but the time is not
today.
It's not yesterday, but the time is now though to get moving. Obviously, we can't have the conversation. Let me ask you this: as it related to the parks, that seemed to be a bit sparse to me also, in terms of the increase. When you talk about what we need, I didn't see that as enough to be able to keep up with, the increase.
We can revisit the master plan with staff and figure out if those cost estimates and what's going to be put into those parks, or if we grabbed enough projects.
Because we discussed some last week that we definitely think are important.
Yeah, we can definitely revisit with staff if there's, if it's captured enough of the projects.
Yeah, okay.
Mine is more the safety issue.
Yeah, mine is everything. So, yeah, okay, all right. Because I do want us to remember now, because we talk about police, what we want to be is a safer city. A safer city needs less police to some degree. We're not trying to grow at the same level. It's my hope that you don't have the need to grow your city's police department at the rate of your growth, because we already have more police than our population normally warrants.
I
whether
disagree.
we may disagree, but that's just a statistical fact. Other cities at 85,000 do not have the number of police that we have. Now, we also know that they don't have the people coming to visit the city that we have. But in other words, I'm simply saying that if we've grown 25,000 people in the last 15 years, it would be my hope that we wouldn't have to grow at the same rate, our police department. At some point in time, you want that to come down to meet what the norm is. But we'll look at the statistics and see what the police department is doing and how crime is escalating, and make decisions as to whether that's necessary. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? All right.
Staff will take your comments back and bring a proposal back to you all for a workshop discussion as was requested. However, be mindful that once we even move forward, that we still have to do the 2 workshops for the community as well. So we'll bring back information for you all to give us what we should take to the community.
But you can get moving.
We're going to look at, they're going to be looking at what you all talked about today.
But we don't have to wait to hear from us to go and talk to the community, do we?
Yeah, we have to do that, because you have to give us what you want to actually do, the numbers.
Well, see, this is what's going to happen now. We're already behind. So now we're talking about we need to go back and, so this workshop needs to happen sooner than yesterday. And are we in agreement? Because if we continue to wait, it's going to continue to be slow and continue to be caught in the bureaucracy.
Is it potentially possible to have a workshop before our next commission meeting?
For me, it is, yes. I'm good with it, because I want to move. I don't want to say let's continue to talk about it and workshop.
Before our next commission meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Mayor, I just had a question for the consultant. You said that there was a part missing for the roads. You're working with another consultant waiting on that information?
It's a sub-consultant to us.
Okay.
He is in the process.
When do you think
And he's shared some draft results, so it'll happen in the same time as, while we revisit with staff, they're going to be looking at the road information. So when I come back to you all, I'll have some preliminary numbers.
Should we have that information before we have a workshop? Have all the information? I mean, the road part is important too. I don't know.
Our anticipation is if they can get it to us as fast, whatever they don't have, we may be able to go forward with what we do have and then bring the others back, if that's the desire of the commission. But we're going to try, if they're able to get with us before the May meeting, we will have the workshop scheduled before our next commission meeting, so we won't be behind for another 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you, we appreciate that.
Thank you.
Okay,
We're going to move on to item number 7. This is citizen comments. During this time, citizens have the opportunity to address the city commission on any item on the consent agenda. And I'm double checking with John. I don't have anyone that signed up for the consent agenda. Okay. Then I have no speakers for the consent agenda.
Where did John go?
That's unusual. Okay.
There's John.
You good?
You
Do you have anything for the consent agenda?
For you for the consent.
No? Okay. We'll just check with you. Okay. All right. Do we have a consent agenda motion?
So moved.
Second.
I don't know who said that. I know Commissioner Strickland was a, okay, I didn't see
Second.
you. Okay. All right, Commissioner Strickland, Commissioner May. Motion's in that order. Do we have any questions or comments from the commission? All right, all those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
We're going to move on to item number 9, which is our public hearings and quasi-judicial hearings. Item 9A is the redevelopment and neighborhood services essential housing linkage fees. This is an ordinance on second reading public hearing. An ordinance establishing an affordable housing linkage fees for the purpose of increasing the supply of affordable housing in the city, adopting findings of the workforce housing linkage fee nexus study prepared by Strategic Planning Group, Inc., establishing process for providing development incentives to offset the cost of the linkage fees where required by Florida Statute Section 166.04151, providing for alternatives to the linkage fee payments, providing for independent impact analysis, providing for severability, repealing all ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, and providing an effective date. And
Mr. Mayor, before there is a motion forward, at the last meeting, or a few meetings back, you all encouraged us. We scheduled a meeting and had individuals from 3 different entities. The faith group was present with 4 representatives. VCARD was present with 4 representatives. And the Chamber of Commerce was present with 4 representatives and city staff. There was dialogue about best options and routes to do what we all wanted to do. I will say that all 3 entities were very interested and concerned about how do we create affordable and workforce housing in our community. So I will say that everyone knows what the goal is, and the goal line is just different routes that individuals are trying to get through. On last week, I communicated with representatives from the business community through Nancy Kiefer, and also from the faith organization with Jackie Mole. And what we were trying to do is give each one of those groups the opportunity to present. So we're going to have Jackie Mole and his team, and Nancy Kiefer and her team. I don't know if Nancy will talk. She only talks when necessary. She'll send someone up our group, but they each have 7 minutes. And what we are hoping, which we cannot violate anyone's rights or the law, we're hoping that the representatives of each one of those groups will present the key issues and concerns they have, so we won't have 300 people coming to do 3 minutes if necessary. And so they all have that right to speak, but we're going to give them 7 minutes. Jackie and I had a good conversation this morning. I know that they've had conversations amongst each other, and I had one with Nancy. So I think, did you need to submit anything? Okay, so you can come up, and there's a timer. Is Father Phil first? Oh, okay, Father Phil and Pastor Lake. It is 7 minutes. Don't close out with 3 different. So she's going to do the timer for 7 minutes.
We'll try. No, we will. We will.
So,
but again, thank you, City Manager, Mayor, to the Commission. My name is Eddie Lake. I live at 253 Burkdale Drive, and I'm pastor of Allen Chapel, and I'm also a board member of Faith. But first, I want to thank all of the 4 of you that attended the Faith's 2025 Action Assembly on March the 25th. And as a result of that, we are excited to see the Affordable Housing Trust Fund get to a dedicated funding source. This will make Daytona Beach the 4th city in the state of Florida to have these kind of fees. So thank you for your bold leadership. We have prepared a handout that we will give to each of you, and that's some of the data that we will be referencing tonight. We understand that the business community and the chamber have an alternative plan. We are very excited about the additional funding source for affordable housing. And we are very excited that the business community has joined us in the fight for affordable housing. Now, Faith is comfortable with the Chamber's idea as long as it is in addition to the linkage fee before you all tonight, and as long as it excludes the CRA funding. And here is why. We do not believe that the development will stop once we have these fees in place. We believe in God's story of abundance, that there is enough money for business to succeed and for the people to have a safe and affordable place to live. Our community is absolutely amazing, and the people want to come here because we are so amazing. Having affordable housing will make it easier for people to get from shelter to housing and to clean up our streets. This will make us a more attractive city to new companies moving in our community. Faith has done its research. At a minimum, we need the fees that the city is recommending. If you choose to implement such low fees, please do not accept the changes to the ordinances that the city is now recommending to let developers choose their own fees by doing their own study. Staff has recommended less than 10% of what the Nexus study has recommended. Surely that is enough of an accommodation for all of the developers. Many places have higher fees than the fees that we are recommending. For example, the city of San Francisco has commercial fees of $37.25 per square foot. Boston has $15.39. Washington, D.C. has $10.19, and Seattle has $20.10. We know and we believe that development has not stopped in these areas, and we believe it will not stop here. We have been waiting since 2019 for this trust fund to get funded. We don't want any more delays. The change to the ordinances that is being recommended by the city to wait until October 2025 to start implementing those fees is unacceptable for where we are with affordable housing. So on behalf of our congregation and our community who are in desperate need for more affordable housing, please, please, please pass these linkage fees. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Father Philly Gito from Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church, 201 University Boulevard. First, I want to thank you for your continued support of First Step Shelter and for your leadership in addressing the affordable housing crisis in Daytona Beach. Your commitment makes a real difference. As part of Faith, the grassroots coalition of everyday people from all walks of life, we have been working tirelessly to find practical, effective solutions to our city's most pressing challenges, especially affordable housing. When the city began looking into linkage fees, we were supportive of your idea. It was a viable idea since other cities were successful in doing this. We started by recommending $10 per square foot, only half of what the Nexus study suggested. Mayor Henry and Commissioner Strickland both showed strong leadership and support for this initial proposal. Still, we listened after consulting with builders and professionals in the field, and after hearing concerns from commissioners and staff, we lowered our ask to $5 per square foot for both residential and commercial development. That's just 20% of what the study recommended. Meanwhile, experts from the Florida Housing Coalition, leaders in this field, encourage us to ask for more, not less. They urged us to aim high if we truly want to address this crisis. But as we often do, we chose compromise. Meeting you more than halfway, we even stopped asking for residential fees and only focused on commercial fees. It's important to remember that Faith isn't just showing up in Daytona Beach. We're showing up across Volusia County. Over the past 2 years, we've successfully pushed the county council to allocate more than $207 million for affordable housing. We've advocated for low-impact development to reduce flooding, substance abuse in the jail, and yes, we were the ones who pushed for capital and operating funding for the First Step Shelter. Why? Because we are all one in our community. Unlike large nonprofits, Faith doesn't have a board of directors that makes all the decisions. We are your neighbors, volunteers, residents, people of faith, Black, white, Republican, Democrat, rich and poor, coming together with one shared belief that everyone deserves a safe, decent, and affordable place to live. Mayor Henry, We deeply appreciate your words during our meeting last month. You said, let's make sure that we pass a substantial fee so that it makes a difference. That's the kind of leadership we believe in, and we are counting on it. I know the pressure you're under. I feel it too. It's not easy to take a stand when powerful voices push back. Honestly, I'd rather be home watching Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune. But I'm up here asking to make a tough call. But this matters. This is about the people who keep our community running, the ones mowing our lawns, teaching our children, caring for our elderly, and even stocking our shelves. So please, stay the course. Approve the linkage fees as well as the Chamber's plan to increase the dedicated funding. Let's create a dedicating funding stream that brings hope and dignity to thousands of hardworking families. Let's show our entire community, including the business community, that we value everyone who calls Daytona Beach home. Thank you for your time and for your continued courage.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Now we're going to have representatives from the business community.
Good evening. Before I start, I think we have a PowerPoint.
You have a clicker?
Is that part of their 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 For a second.
Could you switch it over?
To the PowerPoint.
Take away 3 seconds. I don't want to see me up there.
Are you ready, Xavier? The PDF. It's I think it's a PDF. Let's see. She's got it. She stopped your time, sir.
Yeah. He's not going to cheat you.
There we go. That's it. All right. All right. Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners. Michael Schnapps-Tyler with the Daytona Regional Chamber of Commerce, 126 East Orange Avenue in Daytona Beach. I have the honor of serving as the 2025 chair, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight to present, along with my partner at Cobb Cole, Jessica Gao. The city manager stole a lot of my thunder for my initial remarks, so I just want to say I think you'll hear from many people tonight on all sides of this issue that talk about a need for affordable housing and the need for a dedicated, predictable funding source. And to that, the chamber says, amen. We agree. I think the only area where I think we differ is on how to fund the source. And that's where I'm going to focus a little bit of my time right now. I'm going to touch on a couple of concerns before turning things over to Jessica. First, the linkage fee is tied to new development. So as a recurring source of revenue, that fee for new development is unpredictable. Development costs have continued to rise. Building materials, labor, we have not seen reductions in interest rates, and you just saw a presentation on a considerable but needed increase in your impact fees. This is an additional impact fee that'll be added on top of what you're talking about doing for the community. Second, these fees cannot be used to repair or maintain your existing stock of affordable housing. We've all experienced and have heard stories about the impacts of the recent storm events that have impacted our community. We know that there are several facilities that need to be repaired and maintained from what happened just a few years ago. And there are going to be more stock of affordable housing that needs to be maintained and made more resilient. These fees cannot be put towards that. It can only be put towards new development, new facilities. We do have several representatives of the chamber here this evening, and in the interest of time, they won't be speaking because we share the same principles and concepts. So I just asked for them to stand so they can be recognized as well. Thank you all so much. And with that, I'm going to turn things over to Jessica to continue the presentation. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. You already know that I talk faster than Mike, so bear with me. In general, I want to say starting off that from the business community, from Daytona Regional Chamber, from VCARD, and from a personal perspective, my hope is to have the city of Daytona Beach create a program that is unimpeachable. It's a program that others look to follow. And so our concern comes from not only the kind of legal authority and challenges we've outlined, that I think the commission recognized in some part when you guys voted unanimously to get a new study, but we want to instead turn to an alternative that we think provides for a more consistent source, year over year and in every different situation provides for a greater funding source, and we think has the flexibility to actually respond to the flexibility needed in the affordable housing arena, including, like Mike said, not only repairs, but also looking at what funding can be used for regional stormwater projects, what funding can be used to raise homes located in our historic Midtown. The Nexus study illustrates that we have a huge stock of housing that may be affordable, but is older. And so what those individuals need is repair. They may need a new roof. They may need a new air conditioner. Growing up in affordable housing, I know that we did not need a new house. We needed new cabinets and a new fridge sometimes. And so looking at a source that is more flexible can be helpful there. So we're just going to run you through some numbers. In general, to take a look at what could be produced by a linkage fee as proposed, we took all site plans that were applied for in the year 2023. Now that's a conservative number because every site plan that was applied for in 2023 wasn't necessarily approved in 2023. Some may have rolled over into 2024. But in the best case that every single one was approved, a linkage fee as proposed would have brought in $509,000. The alternative proposal that we are suggesting is outlined here and has been provided in a backup, and it is to set aside a portion of the ad valorem revenue from non-residential development based on the incremental increase year over year of that development type. It does not touch CRA funding, it does not touch any of the specialty district funding, and it does not touch any residential increase. That's outlined kind of in the chart here. What that does is provide for a funding mechanism that grows year over year as property values increase and we get new development. It is fully offset by that natural growth and development that occurs in our community, but is a reliable source that doesn't change. I know I was very busy in 2023. I know you guys were too. It was a booming year, and we got $500,000 in site plan approvals that would contribute to the linkage fee. Under our proposal, even at a 10% set aside of an increment, you would exceed that amount, and we would suggest looking at a higher value there. So to run through this very briefly, the allocations here give you the taxable values in 2021 to 2024, the county level, then broken down to the city level, the city budget year over year, and the allocation in your city budget from the general fund. Using those when you look at the non-residential increase, so at 2023 we had 4.6 million, 2024 we had 6.3. Our suggestion is you set aside, I like the 30%, it's a policy decision, of that increment, so you would have $1.8 million into the trust fund that can be used for new development, can be used for repairs, can be used for stormwater, raising homes. It's flexible. It's not subject to the same limitations on increases and review that impact fees are under the statute. And I think it creates something that is, again, offset by our natural growth of our community. It provides still the fund balance remaining. You can see the remaining increase year over year to grow as a community, to increase our services to residents. And it's also a program that I think a lot of businesses who are looking to locate here would be very interested in, because when business interests look at a local government, affordable housing is one of their top two concerns, the ability to have housing for their employees. Having it up front poses a challenge, as we've talked about, and kind of is in the backup, but having this structure set up, I think would be a huge boon to the city. So with that, that's our general overview. I will note that if a linkage fee is passed, a large concern of the business community is right now it is based on the total square footage of a structure. The study itself was based on employees being created by each use. And so we'd suggest looking at having that apply to occupiable square footage, which is where the employees would actually be. Quick tweak, I think that city staff has pulled in some other considerations that we had brought forward. And with that, we thank you for your consideration. We want to see an affordable housing plan. And if you have any questions, we're happy to take them.
Do you have any questions of either of our presenters, commencing with Jessica and Mike? No questions? Any for? Yeah. No, I'm asking, do we have questions? Do we have questions of Pastor Father Phil or Pastor Lake? No questions. Okay.
And they have one statement.
And they have what?
Just one statement that this policy the staff has made is at the pleasure of the commission. I wanted to be clear that the staff has presented recommendations in reference to the fees, and it's at your desire if you wanted to lower the fees, raise the fees, or not have any fees at all.
Okay. All right. We'll hear from members of the commission. Looks like Commissioner Strickland or Commissioner May. Which one?
The first reading, what we passed, what was that percentage, that number? The first one that we passed.
The numbers did not change.
The numbers did not change. What were they?
They're in your page. Let me see. The staff recommendations are on page 473 for anyone that may be looking online. Of your book, industrial was 62 cents, commercial was 1.82, office was 2.20, hotel was 1.16, hotel extended stay was 11 cents, residential was 1.58, although the fees for residential will not be enforced, but we had to say them. That was the staff recommended, but the Nexus study recommendations were much higher. Do you want me to read those?
No.
Yes.
$7.22 industrial, commercial $21.26, office $23.35, hotel $12.45, hotel extended stay $123, and the residential was $18.39.
Thank you.
What would be the effect of adopting the chamber's approach, the 30% using the ad valorem? What's the effect on the city by using that approach?
We would have to determine that it was about 1.3 or 1.8. The city would have to, you all would have to vote on putting that money into the trust fund. That it will be something that staff will have to look at to see if the money is available to put in beyond what has already been going to be recommended to you all. It will be another resource that we would have to come up with. Although Jessica talked about the growth numbers, staff is actually, they look at using those growth numbers in other areas. So if you were to direct us to go in that route, we would change up what we would be looking at as staff to present something to you all.
Any other comments? Questions? Commissioner Parrish.
So I was looking at all the affordable housing resources that we have here in Volusia County from the state, federal. One of them is My Safe Florida Home Programs. You could get $10,000 in grants for mitigation projects. Florida Housing Coalition, I think our staff is working with them right now. Then you have the Housing Finance Authority of Volusia County. They alleviate a shortage of affordable residence housing facilities and provide capital for investments. Then you have the Florida Housing Finance Corporation, which is a state program. They get their federal money from the National Housing Trust Fund. Can you open that PDF, the occupancy that I sent, Xavier? Okay, I know it's very small, so if you could just make it bigger just to get the bottom part and the numbers. Everything you see in yellow are affordable housing projects that came, that were presented through this project, the Florida Housing Finance Corporation. Currently, 35% of all the affordable housing is in Daytona Beach. I think that's a lot. I know that we have a commission with very big hearts here and we want to help everybody, but I just want to bring to your attention that we do have affordable housing, and they have taken monies from the federal government and from the state to provide tax credits to all these builders, and all the information is listed on the page. So like I said, 35% of all the affordable housing for these projects are in the city of Daytona Beach, and 65% are in the remaining 15 cities. The other thing I wanted to bring up also was Mid-Florida Housing Partnerships. We've given multiple vacant lots to them to build single-family affordable homes. We've worked with Homes Bring Hope. We've worked with other organizations as well. We even provided $1.5 million from our ARPA funds to Mid-Florida and another organization to help with people to do mitigation from storms. Then you have the DeLand Housing Authority, the Daytona Beach Housing Authority, which is not included in the numbers here. So not only do we have 35% of the affordable housing, but we also have all of the subsidized housing. Ormond Beach has a housing authority, New Smyrna Beach has a housing authority, and then there's also HUD. Other monies that we're receiving. So the city of Daytona Beach gets SHIP funds each year. We get $615,000 of that money. Volusia County receives $3.1 million of that money. And Deltona, I believe, gets another $740,000. That money could be spent for emergency repairs, new construction, rehabilitation, down payments, closing costs, impact fees. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is that I think we have a lot of affordable housing. The root cause is how are we going to help the people that are below the poverty level here? I think it's important that we need to maybe spend some of this money on figuring out, do we need to do some kind of job training programs, or figure out why we're in this position. Because I think as time goes on, it's just going to get worse. If we don't empower the people to help themselves, affordable housing is not going to help them. It is one step, but I want to know how we can empower people to be the best they could be. I mean, a lot of the small and medium-sized businesses in Florida are the ones that bring forward our economy. And the linkage fees and just keep taxing other people. We're getting all this money, and it's just now we're going to get more money. We don't really even know where we're going to be spending this money. I know that we have a large senior population too that needs help, even with rental assistance. Maybe that's something that we could work on. And I mean, and the facts also show we're having issues with, not issues, but public safety. We don't have enough. A lot of the calls that are, I'll give an example, Clyde Morris are getting significantly more calls from our public safety department than at-rate market apartments. And I know that we want to try to, I guess, work with our public safety also to not give them more of a burden. I think we made a lot of strides in the last 5 years of providing affordable housing, but I don't think it should always be the responsibility of Daytona Beach. I don't think it's sustainable. Do I want to do it? Yes. If anyone wants to come live with me, I will open my doors, but I feel like I have to be an adult and say this is not sustainable, and I don't think it's going to work. We need a stronger economy, and I don't think this is going to help with a stronger economy, because if we have more affordable housing, we're going to have more urban sprawl, we're going to have more density, and then we're not going to have people wanting to come here because they're not going to have disposable income. And I hate to make it a money thing, but we do already have 35% of the affordable housing in the whole county. So I don't know if there's a way we could maybe use the funds we're currently receiving in a different way. And I just want to see people with better jobs here that can afford to live, because it's just going to keep getting more expensive. So that's my 2 cents in all this.
Commissioner Paris, I actually totally agree with you. You said it perfect. And this, I believe, I sent to the clerk from the Live Local Act. I mean, we also have the Sadowski Act. This fund was for affordable housing in Florida that was voted on by the citizens for affordable housing. So for every sales transaction real estate in Florida, there's a charge of 70 cents per 100, and a few mortgages 35 cents per 100. Sometimes the fund is used, I know, to balance the state budget, but that's not us. Daytona does the most, and I think the faith group would be better talking to our legislatives. I believe $2.3 billion has been redirected from that fund, and the people voted on it. Daytona should not be the hub for affordable housing. I don't see the city of Port Orange, I don't see the city of Ormond, I don't see the people going, only to the county and the city of Daytona. We do a lot. So, and we were just discussing, we need to bring up our impact fees as well. How are we going to do that and then still keep charging? Homeless and affordable housing is just not Daytona Beach. But out of all the cities in Volusia County, we do so much. And I'm just going to give you some things like all of us wanted Trader Joe's. We're finally getting a Trader Joe's here. Do you think they would come here if they know that we're going to be charging linkage fees? No, because actually the talk about Trader Joe's was originally going to be on Ormond Beach. But I think the chamber helped me. We sent in so many emails, and Margaritaville people did, trying to get the Trader Joe's over here in Daytona. We need these commercial jobs as well. I'm trying to find, I think at the last workshop we had on linkage fees, budget for 2023-2024 was $332 million. And now I believe it's what, 389? But the revenue that we collected from property taxes for 2023-2024 was $43.8 million. The property tax did not even cover the budget of our police department. And so we're just going to keep charging. And then plus commercial, we need the jobs. We need the commercial properties here. If we don't have jobs, how are they going to pay their bills? So I'm in total agreement. I think Commissioner Paris said it perfect.
Nailed it.
So I represent Zone 3, which is 32114, part of Beachside. So the constituents in my zone are seniors, number one. I have a lot of larger families, number two. I have families, younger people living with their grandparents, number three. And then I also have students, number four. So I have some people who are living generationally in one household because they cannot afford to move out on their own, because they cannot afford to have a home. So I would have to say that from a position of Zone 3, 32114 being one of the zip codes that needs some extra help economically, for us, affordable housing is definitely an area of concern. On Beachside, for example, when I speak to people, some of them would like to leave the beachside. They've lived there for so long, they would like to move into a newer environment, let's say. They can't afford to do it, so they have to stay. Right? So it also means that people are staying in one place. So I can only speak for the people in a Zone 4 or Zone 3. I can only speak for them in Zone 3. And those are the young people, the single parent households, the school kids, the seniors, and a lot of people are holding two jobs and they still can't make it. So also one more thing. So we're discussing, I like the chamber plan, to be honest with you. Why? Because it's a reoccurring revenue stream. My only concern with that is the impact it has on the whole city by taking money out of the budget at that time. But if we truly are sincere about affordable housing, it's been the Mayor's initiative for a few years now, right? That will be a reoccurring stream. So that's where I am with it.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else?
I do. I have some comments. Hold on. Writing my last point. Commissioner Paris, you made some good points.
Mike down.
Oh, Mike.
Pull it down. Just pull it down.
Okay, sorry. You made some good points. You did. However, I think we're missing the bigger picture, which is what the need is for Daytona Beach. And the need is great. as our city continues to grow and we invest in housing prices always tend to rise very fast as we grow. And without more affordable options, longtime residents, often low income or working class, can be priced out of their own neighborhoods. This is how gentrification can start as well. That's not my point that I'm making, but I'm just throwing that in there. And these aren't people that are coming here. These are people that are already here who need affordable housing. In 32117, which you all know I'm Mother Duck of, the need is great. And so in Ormond, I could see that the need is less because we got to think about what financially people's income is in various areas. So Ormond's income is different. Port Orange's income is different. And so while we may provide 35% of the housing, it's not enough. And that's the issue. The issue is not whether or not we're doing a good job, because we are doing a good job. And whether or not it puts a strain on our police department, we can't say we can't have more affordable housing because those people will come in and mess it up and we're going to get more calls from the police officers. That's not how you lead. And I know you said this commission has a big heart, and we do have a big heart. But we have heart enough to know that the need is great and we need more. Affordable housing supports essential workers. We rely on our teachers. We rely on our nurses. We rely on our janitors and our delivery drivers and other workers. And this is a service community. So affordable housing ensures that they can actually live where they work and not hours away in cheaper areas. Affordable housing allows people from all walks of life, different races, ages, to live together. That diversity strengthens the social and cultural fabric of cities. I'm reading my notes because I was writing fast as you were talking. And lastly, it reduces homelessness, which has been the core of what we have been trying to do for the past 8 years. And the homeless shelter is just not going to sustain us reducing homelessness. As far as linkage fees, rather than placing that financial burden on the taxpayers, linkage fees place responsibility on those profiting from the government and profiting from our communities and profiting from our cities. Inner cities often see luxury condos and office towers go up, with lower income residents are pushed out. We need areas where they can push in. And so I think that we have to come to a medium or a middle ground on linkage fees, because for the city of Daytona Beach, they are not just a luxury, they are a necessity. And that's my point.
So I think we agree, right, I think that we agree if we're thinking about, not all of us, but I think that, if we're in favor of a fee of some sort, we agree we need the housing. We agree we need that for our existing people, right? Not even the workers that would come because we have affordable housing. The business would in fact be encouraged to come here because we have affordable housing. Okay, we get that. The question always seems to come down to the method. What is the vehicle? How do we want to do it? So, Commissioner Henry was speaking more linkage fees. I'm thinking more a chamber approach. So even if we took the 10% route, it's still more than the projected route of doing a linkage fee. So, I mean, if the goal is to maximize that dollar, to get us to revenue, somebody used the word exploit. I wasn't quite in agreement with the language of exploiting something. Somebody mentioned the word exploit. I don't know who mentioned it, but I'm not looking to exploit businesses or individuals. It's not my game, right? But if we're trying to work with it, then it doesn't have to be 30%. Even the 10% was greater than. The 10% was greater than just doing a straight linkage fee for $1 or whatever.
Commissioner Strickland, do you have any comments? Commissioner Reed, are you still with us? Is she there?
Yes, I'm trying to unmute.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. All right, gotcha. Just checking. Go ahead.
I tend to lean toward the chamber's design. Some very simple reasons and some probably more complicated reasons. If we make it too complicated, we're going to need new staff to help keep up with it. That's going to cost us more money, and that sort of thing. And we've got plenty of staff already. I prefer us to decide as a city as to what we're willing to put in to the Affordable Housing Fund amongst ourselves right here, and leave out a lot of the extra stuff that we have to do here with keeping up with how it's done, doing the monitoring of new construction and how much money per square foot and how much was approved and that sort of thing. Let's just decide what we're willing to do as a commission and as a city, and do it and be done with this. We've been going through this exercise with linkage fees and how we're going to do affordable housing for a long time. Let's just decide what we're willing to do as a commission. Maybe get staff to bring us back some facts and figures, have a workshop, and make a decision as to what we're willing to do. We've been kicking this around a long time. And I have a soft spot for the poor and the folks that are needy. I think most everybody knows that. But let's just get this over with and decide what we're gonna put up as a city out of our funds and be done with it. Get it over with and move forward.
All right. Commissioner Reed, do you have any sentiments or that you can express or?
Well, certainly a lot has been said this evening, and I can concur with several of my colleagues. Something definitely has to be done. I too like the chamber's presentation. It's the first time I've heard it. We've been listening to and talking about linkage fees for quite some time now. What I like about their approach is that it is a continuous flow of income. And it apparently, from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it doesn't have an impact on our residents. As Commissioner Strickland has indicated, we have kicked this ball down the road quite a bit, so we do need to make a decision. I do have a quote for that from my mama, but I won't use it today. Is there a third presentation? Is staff also speaking to us tonight?
No, there's no third presentation.
Okay, it's just those two. And tonight we're making a decision on those two that are being presented to us. Am I correct?
Well, yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right.
Here's what we say now. So what we've looked at are two proposals that could potentially net us, $1.5 to $2 million on the one, and the other one maybe $500,000. That's what has been stated to us. And here is where I am, and I understand, and I have a sense that this is going in a different direction, perhaps, than I had hoped. And that happens, and you must, as an elected person, it is always incumbent upon you to listen and to hear, and whether you believe that you've made a commitment, your commitment should never be made until all things are brought to the table. And not all things have been brought to the table, but more things have been brought to the table. You've got two things, and so a part of this discussion, and Commissioner Strickland says, let's make a decision because we've kicked the can down the road, and we have perpetually done that over the last 5 years. We've just kicked the can down the road over and over again. Kick, kick, kick. And so, for me, it's not one or the other. Never personally came in this evening hoping for one or the other. I came in after I saw both. Different approach. Said both and. And while it is, you have two factions on our community tonight, polarizing, and this is the nature of what we do. The nature of what we do is we stand in the middle between oftentimes two good things that pull us in two different directions. And it is our responsibility to find the middle ground or the righteous ground in both. Well, here tonight we have two great community agencies that have brought before us what I believe are two good ideas. So why would we take either idea and throw them away? But here's why. Because, one group probably would take both ideas, one group wouldn't. One group has a more vested interest in one idea. Now, you all have to remember, and we go back as a community, about 7, 8 years ago, we were all together in the same room, both these same groups, pulling for the same idea. That idea at that time was the idea of first step. So it's not a question of the goodness or the intent of either group. And none of us have said that. And so whatever we decide tonight, it is certainly my hope that we will go away the same united community that we came in, but sometimes a little bit different. But my ask is a little different of the commissioners. It's a little different of both Commissioner Reed, because this amount of money is not going to get us anywhere near where we need to be. Commissioner Strickland said, let's decide how much we need. It's never been one pocket. To me, this is a beginning. So my ask is both. I think we need both of these proposals that have been given to us by two of these very formidable organizations. And so it's easy to find, an out. And while I agree with a lot of everything that was said, now some of it I just wasn't too much in agreement with. But most of all that I heard, I understood it, could grab onto it. But unlike our childhood, everything that the Commissioner Henry said, I was like, oh, we can agree tonight. And so I don't think that we should sit here and say, and allow ourselves as a commission to be pitted against. We have a bigger goal. And in order to get to that goal, and it ain't just what we got tonight. It's other things that are out there that we need. And what we've said from the very beginning is, and I don't mean to yell at staff again, because I've yelled at them multiple times over the years about this, been too slow. Been too slow. We've been asking for a menu, and that's why you're frustrated. Been asking for a menu for years, way before he got here. A menu. This is a big problem. It's not a baby problem. And our community needs it. I don't need to regurgitate everything that she said, and the fact that Ormond Beach and Port Orange and other cities I work with those people. And I work with people who live in Ormond Beach, who are going to be homeless. So because they don't do what they need to do, it's not an excuse for us not to do what we need to do. And so I'm asking the commission to say yes to both, not no to either.
I like it.
And we have no motion on anything. So if we entertain a motion, then we have to hear from the public, which I believe is reasonable. But we need a motion to do something.
At these numbers, since we're going to negotiate, are you requesting it at the numbers presented, 30%, 10%, at the numbers there, or are you just saying a percentage of each? Are you saying reduce the dollar? Are you saying you want everything? I recognize you want both plans. To what extent?
Well, first, I believe that the linkage fees are a nominal fee, and they do not place a substantial or, I can't speak for businesses, but that's a nominal burden that I believe that businesses should be able to incur, and that's one of the reasons that we went so low. And staff suggested that it be that low because they believed that it was something that was achievable and attainable. Now, as far as the chamber's presentation, they gave us those numbers, and I believe, here's what I believe, and I do believe that those numbers are reasonable in terms of the future. Now, staff is always going to do what staff is going to do. They don't want to spend outside of the purview of what they believe they should spend on. But it is our responsibility to determine what the purview of expenditures must be. It is their responsibility to be able to deal with that purview that we've given them. And so I believe that both fees that we've been given are reasonable to help us to meet the objectives that we have.
And what percentage for the chamber?
At the 10%?
Okay.
Is that what they? 10, 30 is a couple different ones for different things.
It's only 3.
I'm not looking at them.
Yeah.
You want?
I said it's 10, 30, and 50.
10, 30, and 50. And so here's what we're saying with that is it's not a perpetual thing. It's a one-time fee, right?
That's not how I'm reading it.
But it's one time when they give the money the first.
No.
It'll be
It's yearly.
It will be a
But annual fund.
annual
Yes.
contribution that you all also will have to budget each year. So even if you approve it tonight, during the budget cycle, you will have to still.
So it's not on each new project, it's
No.
just on those projects,
Yes.
Yeah.
the
it'll
ones
be
that come.
Yes, but it's perpetual.
Yeah, okay. That's
That's a significant.
That's a significant amount.
A lot.
So the fees, I believe, would require,
The fees will be set.
would be set. Yeah, that's a substantial amount.
Yeah, I think we should look at
I think we would have to come back and say those amounts may have to need to be reduced. And I don't think that we're in a place, now I don't want to go away from the other, but I want us to do both.
And that's
So,
fine, but, and, I mean, that's a great vision there. So, when we come back, so we're gonna go one more time, we're gonna come back with is the city gonna give us some numbers based on that information, or information in general, saying if we do it at 5% or 10%, et cetera, what that would look like? Because remember, now you're getting it from 2 pools, not just one.
Do we have any way of expressing that tonight? 5-minute recess? Yeah, so you can talk to your staff? Yeah, because we don't, I'm ready. So let's do a 5-minute recess, allow him to talk to staff, and then we'll come back in.
The other side of the coin is, whatever we do, if we go on the high end, let's just say.
Not.
Okay.
Okay.
But if we did, what that represents to the rest of the city then is a reduction in services, because that money's not going back in.
But that's why
Just
we
so we're
won't do
clear.
that. Yep.
Okay.
So we'll let them, we're gonna take a 5-minute recess, make it 7 minutes, we'll put the timer on. That way I can go over and eat a piece of chocolate that I'm not supposed to have. This meeting is recessed. What did you say? I set the tone for that. It wasn't you.
If everyone can come in and sit down.
Got it.
If you all would take your seats, we'll start in about 1 minute.
As we reconvene, we apologize that that was a little longer than 7 minutes, but I think it was necessary. Before I allow the city manager to begin to frame some of what we can do, I would like to add a little bit to the conversation and why I believe that both of these are kind of prudent. Number one, they help us to meet both demands. The one is that by going with the option that the chamber has given us, that frees up and liberates some of the funding. So it liberates us to be able to do a plethora of things with those funds, and they're not as restricted. But I believe that the other side enables us. If you remember, a few weeks ago, we went to an event, Commissioner Henry, Commissioner Strickland, and myself, where 8 homes, not houses, homes, were dedicated to new first-time home buyers. So it would allow you to basically have a funding source that would enable us to address both of those needs, and still not at the level that we hope, but we'll find other ways as time goes on. But tonight, I think we need to begin. So, Mr. Manager, if you could.
Mr. Mayor, just a second.
Mm-hmm.
A couple of things, just something to consider. Let's call it things to consider as we go down this road. All right?
Mm-hmm.
When we go down the road of linkage fees, let's be clear. So it's any existing, it's new commercial property.
Mm-hmm.
This would also, just for clarification, this also extend to existing businesses that then seek expansion. Would that also include them?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so to that, we would then have to include, just to be sure, Halifax Health, Embry-Riddle, Bethune-Cookman, not Daytona State, because they are a different system. So it's going to be not just new build, it's going to be anybody who then expands commercially. That's just something for us to consider when we address linkage fees.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Sir?
Yeah, and also it was mentioned a Florida statute. If we're going by, well, if we're going to do this for these linkage fees, we could end up with some lawsuits too with the study that we already have. Because it says, provides that local governments must ensure that the calculation of the impact fee is based on the study using the most recent data available within 4 years of the current impact fee update. The new study must be adopted by the local government within 12 months of the initiative of the new impact fee study if the local government increases the impact fee. So that's something we need to think about as well, because I remember at our workshop, I believe it was 2023, we requested to have a new study, which I never came. We're still using the same one.
Okay.
And I don't understand, if we requested that at a workshop, why didn't it happen?
So does that mean if we go down the linkage fee road that we'd be open to litigation at that point if we pass something?
We could be. And I know we're not passing linkage fees on residential, but there is a state law on that as well, that you have to make the developer whole, which that means more density or whatever we would have to do. I'm just worried we're opening ourselves up to more lawsuits by not actually doing what we're supposed to be doing when we did request a new study, and we never did it. But that seems like a norm.
Well, is the study older than the 4 years? In 6 years? We accepted it, though, within the 12 months. Go ahead.
I believe that the reference, at
study-
least the statutory reference from Commissioner Cantu may have been related to the impact fee reference and not the linkage fee, I believe.
No, it's
and I don't know
the
if it's
linkage fee.
necessarily the circumstance. I would look to what our staff did is we had someone, Kira Hans, Assistant City Attorney, to prepare herself for answering any of your questions for this situation since Mr. Gross isn't here. So I would ask Ms. Hans to come forward and address that question for you in terms of the legal information.
Actually, is the linkage fee, it says a new study must be adopted by the local government within 12 months.
Go ahead.
So the linkage fee is related to impact fees, but this impact fee statute does not necessarily apply to linkage fees. What would apply is the general common law, which is that you have to have the dual nexus test of that you have to show that there is a need and that the fees are used to address that need. But the details of the increase, and there may be attorneys that have differing opinions, which
Right.
is, you know, this was the opinion that Ben and I had talked about, that statute does not apply to linkage fees.
And I understand that you are our attorneys for the city of Daytona, but I have talked to other attorneys, and it could apply, and we could open us, like you just said, we could open up
Always
lawsuits
can.
for the city.
Okay. And of course, anytime you do something related to developers, you're gonna open yourself up to lawsuit because they're gonna sue for every dime that they can hold on to, and that's so
Except these may not just be developers.
correct.
These may be other entities that support the city that do really good work, and not talking talking hospitals, we're talking schools. So it's not just developers, right?
Correct.
Totally agree with you, Commissioner.
Yeah, I agree with that, but I'm just making a statement about the people who have the greater propensity normally to protect. Remember what happened with Margaritaville? Okay, in terms of they sued us.
Correct.
Okay.
And just like the panhandling ordinance, look what's happening with that.
Sue.
Right. So we need to start being cautious with what we actually do and make sure we're doing the right thing so we don't end up with more lawsuits.
Yeah.
I think Commissioner Strickland says that quite often to us.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I also, people you're going to sue for anything, but you cannot just for fear of every single thing you do. Oh, we might get sued, so we got to back off. We can't do this. We cannot not do what's right for the residents just because we could possibly be sued. We got to do the right thing. And people are never not going to come up with a reason to sue, especially if they feel like they're going to be on the winning end of the lawsuit. That's just...
So the hospital, Halifax Health, is on like a zero budget. They are doing the best they can with the least possible funding. Their employees work really, really hard. They work so hard there. So many people come to that hospital. So if they expand, if they go into another area, that's an undue burden on them also. So now my concern becomes, yes, I believe in the housing, believe in it, but now my concern is the burden it puts on some of those entities. So now we have to find the right pathway. Yes, we support it, but we cannot also then put more burden on our existing institutions that help us in the long run as well. That help the very same people who need housing. They're helping them again.
Mm-hmm.
I agree with you there.
Yeah. Well, is there an option to preclude or to exclude such institutions as colleges and universities?
We would have to redo the study to do that because the numbers are based on the current capacity, what would be, the current industries. So you would be changing the numbers and you would need to redo the study.
And so explain to me what she's referring to. So if Halifax does what? Why would they, if they build any new construction, they would be subject to linkage fees?
Correct.
But they're subject to other fees also. Just like if they're subject to, what were the fees that we were just discussing? Impact fees. Okay, so I don't really personally see that as something that I'm going to oppose. But go ahead, tell me a little bit about it anyway, so we have clarification and transparency.
Any increase in square footage would be, that's new construction, would be subject to the linkage fee.
Okay.
As long as it's a commercialized industry. It still would not apply to the residential. We're waiving it for residential.
Consider schools commercialized?
I would have to look and see. The way the study was done was based on NAICS codes, which is the North American Industrial Code System, and that's how they broke it down. I do know that health, they included in the office section. I don't know where they included places like schools and university in the study. I would have to look at the numbers. And
schools and universities were subject as well.
Okay, I thought they were, but I wasn't sure where they fell in the.
It's all right.
Mayor,
They get out, man.
Mayor Henry. So
What about
last
our
week,
own facilities too? I'm just curious.
last week, Commissioner Strickland, myself, and the city manager, we went to Advent Health, and they just built. I want to say, was it 1 million square feet extra? Because it's like they built a whole new hospital on that footprint, and I would beg to differ that they wouldn't build here if they had to pay an extra $1 million if we were just charging $1 per square foot.
You don't think they would expand?
Hospitals.
I mean,
You're
Maybe
saying,
not in our area. That's $1 million. They're a non-for-profit. If they could build in Ormond or
Orange
they
City,
just built,
they're, right.
it,
Port Orange, they have.
I'm not gonna begrudge them for building next door in Ormond Beach. I'm just not. I mean, personally, they're in Daytona Beach, but it's right next to Ormond. Okay. Any other?
You have me and you're losing me.
I know.
You have me and I don't want to
You
go
don't wanna
away.
be lost.
I don't want to not work with this. I really don't. But there's got to be another way. You came up with this, so now I'm going to say to you, you came up with this in terms of the combination. That was your concept. Okay, now here we are with the combination. So there's got to be a way that we can accommodate the housing, which I need. 32114 needs it. You know, Commissioner Reed, Commissioner Henry, we all need different types of housing in our zones. I'm absolutely for it. But now, in jeopardy for me are the other institutions. That is a situation.
That's a powerful argument, and I don't have a rebuttal for that other than to say that everybody should be supporting this. There's nobody, Halifax, definitely not Advent, not Embry-Riddle, because their students call me. I have emails from their students who need affordable housing. Even Bethune-Cookman, everybody should support it. So it's not something that, you know, we all got to bear the burdens of this. So that's where I just stand that way. And I don't have an argument other than I wish we could say to them that they don't have to pay. But the truth is, it's a painful bite out of our resources for the city.
So what percentages are we looking at?
We're looking at the percentages for linkage fees. I want the manager to address the other portion, but the percentages that were already proposed that we already have, and if we would allow now the manager
Ms.
to.
Ms.
Yes.
Kara, is there any way that we could ask the Attorney General for
I
clarification?
ain't asking no, I'm not waiting on that.
I don't know. I mean, we could. I don't know that they would take it up as, you know, something that they would respond to. It would just delay things
Yes.
additionally.
Well, we need a new study as well. I mean, because we could end up with lawsuits too. And we did request a new study at the last workshop. So I don't understand why a new study wasn't done. And that was what, 23, 24. So that was done in 2023. We requested a new study and it was never done. So we're going off an old study and then you expect us just to vote on something when we specifically, why did we even have the workshop? I'm just curious.
why was it that we asked for a new study? I don't remember asking for a new study.
We did though.
We did.
Okay, so,
We did?
yeah.
Yeah, but it was,
Okay.
but it didn't make this study
What-
obsolete for me. We asked for a new one. There was some technicality.
Grammatical
Go
errors.
ahead.
So given that the linkage, I'm sorry, given that we're getting actually more money by using a percentage basis on a recurring level, would we consider reducing the linkage fee? We're getting more money by doing the percentage, and it's ongoing versus the one-time linkage fee, so you're wanting both.
But we're not going to keep the other one at the same level. That's what the manager was going to address. I am wanting the linkage fee. I think the numbers on the linkage fee are fair and reasonable. They're not too cumbersome. But if you all would like to reduce that some, then
Well, we're going to be charging that.
We would be trying to reduce the linkage fee from, what is it right now, $1 something? $1.06 or $1.07, something like that? We'd be trying to find a number that's lower than that in order to accommodate the linkage fee and then also the percentage, which would be lower than 10. That way we're getting both.
But the manager, the numbers are going to be much lower on the other one.
But remember, it's reoccurring.
I remember, but it's still going to be, it's got to be way lower than those numbers that we saw. So, and I remember, it is reoccurring. Do you want to speak to what it could be?
I will say I want us to be mindful that any funds that come out of the general fund, the percentage numbers have to be approved by the elected body.
Yeah.
So no matter what, I did talk with our staff that we would be looking at determining what will be the percentage, the most appropriate percentage, because it does allow for funds to be used outside of the different zones and different mechanisms. So, but it would have to still be approved by you all. So we would be looking at asking you all for a percentage number based off of our review of our budget to present something that goes along with what the chamber is requesting we do with the growth that's taking place.
And then can we also get a proposal for a reduction in the linkage fee as well, or no? That's really...
We want to vote on the linkage fee tonight. So it's time to move with the linkage fee. So maybe we can reduce the number, $1.06.
Well, we need numbers.
That's what you're talking.
Give us a number to work with.
Well, the numbers are in the book of the recommendations, 473. Those are the ones I read. So you're looking at the staff recommended fee amounts. I'm not sure if the team could pull it up on the screen if they go to...
So these are the recommended amounts, and what I'm requesting is if we go slightly lower to accommodate the reoccurring and then drop the linkage fee. Is that possible, and what is a good number for us?
To drop the entire linkage fee is what you're asking.
Yeah, is there another number?
Yeah, just reduce the linkage fee,
Yes.
but to what amount?
That's what we're...
I mean, for me, I don't want to reduce it. But I understand, for you, in order for you to stay with us, you want it reduced. And I don't want to nickel and dime and try to you say, do I have enough votes? I just want to be successful, get to a reasonable medium or compromise. But I do want to vote on the linkage fees. I do not want to kick it down the road another night, another day. We've been here. And to me, there's been a lot of, I feel like we haven't addressed it and we've stalled. Even in having alternative positions, this could have been before us 5 years ago. We offered this 3-4 years ago, come to the table. But only when we come to the table with linkage fees, then we come as a community, and then everyone has something different. So that's why I'm very bullish on up or down. Let's get some linkage fees. And then staff comes back next week, they'll be able to tell us what the amount should be for the other fees. We have a Herculean task in addressing affordable housing. It's a lot to be done. So are you looking at the numbers?
We don't.
You gave us the numbers.
We don't have. The numbers for the industrial recommendations: 62 cents, commercial $1.82, office $2.20, hotel $1.16, hotel extended stay 11 cents, and residential $1.58, which will not be collected. So those are the fees. The original were very high. That the study recommended.
The study recommended.
So what are the category of, so we don't have to touch all of them, but the category that the schools and hospitals go into, what's the number for those?
Good idea.
Which one were they? I think they are the ones under office that will be about 220. I think those areas fall up under that.
Say that again?
I think it's $2.20. Since it's the ones that fall up under for the hospitals and schools.
Ms. Page, I can assist you as well. The amended ordinance that I provided is on page 3, so that should be at the DSO. Anyone can take a look at that ordinance, and those will be the numbers that you're speaking of. So that will be page 3 of that amended ordinance.
So I guess I need you guys to do some quick math for me. Do some quick math to figure out, because I want to make sure that they're funding the housing. It's got to be funded. But can we make adjustment in the 2 areas that I think would impact the community?
So are you suggesting, and I'm just using for a number for, you're suggesting maybe office from $2.20 to $2, or from $2 to...
What does office include?
Yes, the categories.
What other things are in there?
Give me a second.
No word, no words.
Need this at all. There, you need the base at all.
I got it right here.
Okay.
So office included NAICS Industries 51 through 55 and 62. Those include information, finance and insurance, real estate, professional, scientific, and technical services, management of companies and enterprises. 62 is the healthcare and social assistance.
Sorry, one more time. Sorry, one more time. You went through pretty quick.
Okay.
So we know that the hospital is separate, correct? That's 62.
It's correct. But it falls under the office category the way this study was done.
Okay.
The other things that fall into that category are information, so technology, that sort of thing, finance and insurance, real estate and rental and leasing, professional, scientific, and technical services, and management of companies and enterprises are considered within these offices.
That's a lot.
Sounds like a lot.
And schools would fall under that?
That's where I don't know where they were putting schools. I don't see the equivalent NICS code in the study. They do reference the types on one of the tables. They do include schools as numbers, but I don't see where they can convert it into our categories. And the issue
If
with
you go to Kira page 569.
I don't have that.
Section 3.
Section 3.
Table 85.
Table 85.
I think there has it for NAICS 54 deals with educational instruction and library occupations.
Okay, so yeah, it would fall under that category. So it seems to fall under that category. It also has its own separate category. I know, I'm right there.
I think by doing what you guys are doing right now, we're opening us up for lawsuits, treating one class differently.
I mean, you're treating all of them differently. You have the latitude to do that.
Asking about schools and colleges and we're opening us up for more.
So you're saying if we did a reduction, it would be across the board, a percentage reduction across the board maybe? So it's not necessarily for one group or the other with the linkage fees? If we just said, like take a number, like 50 cents for everybody. Let's just say it's that. It would be across the board for everybody without designating anything.
How about just cut them all by 10%?
More. Only because, Mr. Moe, let me just say, because we're getting money every single year based on taxes, way more than what we started with just a one-time linkage fee. There's way more coming down. There's way more coming down the road.
And we're
right? That's why.
Okay, 15%. Cut them by 15%.
What does that number look like?
It just looks like 15% about everybody. Just cut everybody by 15%.
You got to remember, we're getting ready to raise impact fees.
Well, that's the other side of the coin, right? The impact fees are also going up. So the same with the reduction you're getting on one end, you're going to be paying in the other side with the impact fees. That's going to come next. Okay. All right.
Somebody will have to make a motion with that.
Can someone make a motion with that?
All right.
You all right?
No.
Okay. I don't know what to say.
What are you going to do?
Someone going to make a motion?
Ooh. Didn't see that coming.
No. The question is, can someone make a motion to that amount, 15%? What amount do you need for you to make the motion, ma'am?
First of all, I'm grateful that we're happy to create this opportunity. So that's the first thing. I mean, I am not a greedy person. It's nothing to do with me personally, but I want everybody to walk away somewhat satisfied and able to live with it. So I would do 30.
30%?
Yeah. We can negotiate that, but 30 would work.
Can we do 25% and be done with it for the night?
Yes.
25%. Can you make the motion?
You ready, Mr. Mole?
Okay.
I move that we move forward with linkage fees with a reduction of 25% in all the linkage fees across the board, right? And then also with a particular percentage, we're just doing linkage fees, right? Okay, that's it.
Yes. Well, we can't make the motion also to have
No.
staff bring back the other part?
Because we don't know what the percentage is.
So you just come back and tell them, we'll just come back later and do that. Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, I have a motion, I have a second. Commissioner Reed, are you still with us?
Yes, sir.
We'll have to hear from residents. Commissioner Reed, are you with us?
Yes,
She's holding her
sir.
mic.
Yeah.
She is?
I'm saying yes. Y'all can't hear me?
Commissioner Reed, we're going to open up for public comments.
Go right
Okay.
ahead.
Our first speaker is John Nicholson, and on deck is it Jackie Mole?
Mm-hmm.
John Nicholson, 413 North Granbury Avenue, and you're not going to like this, but I don't think we need affordable housing in Daytona Beach. You did a Nexus study, and what it told you was that 85% of your city works outside your city. We have the affordable housing for Ormond, the Shores, Ponce Inlet, the county, Ormond by the sea. All of those businesses have their workers from here. So why, if we're looking for workers' housing, if we have the most, 85% is here. What do we want? 90% of the county living here and working elsewhere? You've got to, secondly, you haven't determined who needs this affordable housing. You haven't determined whether it's seniors, baby boomers. And if you do that, the baby boomers are dying. We are a limited number of people, like Bike Week. Bike Week is slowing down because the bikers are seniors. And the older they get, the less they're going to do that. It's just life. Baby boomers were born 45 to 66. That's where Margaritaville is, folks. And what happens when they all retire? Because I didn't have 10 kids. Did you have 10 children? Mayor, you don't have 10 children. All right? The more we go, the fewer children are being born.
7.
That's just the way it is. We are growing by immigration, but not by natural birth. So who needs this housing, and why are we providing housing for all the other cities? We produce, or did have, 85% of all housing in the county. Now we're down to 50%. The next logical step is to go up to provide for the next group up. But those aren't the teachers. Those aren't the police. That isn't the firemen. That's your gardeners. That's your maids. Those are the people that need the housing to be subsidized. What we need is more housing. We've had a dearth of 40 years without building upscale housing. 40 years. Now we spent the last 6 years building upscale housing. That's not going to go on forever. There's only a limited number of people that got that kind of money. And eventually, we're going to need affordable housing, but not now.
Yes, sir. Thank you for your commentary.
Thank you, John.
Next.
Our next speaker is Jackie Mole, and on deck is Paula Morales.
Thank you. First of all, Father Phil and Reverend Lake took all my time, so I'm here now. Well, let's start by saying thank you. My name is Jackie Mole. I am one of the co-chairs of Faith. And again, I want to encourage you to take the action tonight and pass these linkage fees as recommended. If you'd also like to use tax surplus money, that is great. But let's not let a new idea stop or delay the progress that we have already made. We agree with the chamber that the fees before you tonight will not take enough money for affordable housing. Will not raise enough money for affordable housing. Because of that, we encourage you to adopt the linkage fees as is, and also consider adopting the proposal from the chamber or another source. We have not had enough time to research their ideas or had enough time to gather with the members of our 30 congregations who have to approve it, but we're good. It is my understanding that we did not realize that the schools were included in the linkage fees, subject to linkage fees. The chamber did not include them either in their calculation. We thought government buildings were exempt from the linkage fees. However, I can speak for Faith Congregation when I say more money for affordable housing is great. Our fear is that if you reject the linkage fees tonight, that we will, and you've made a motion to move it forward. So let me close by saying this. Dr. King said that in this letter from a Birmingham jail, and I quote, "For years now, I've heard the words, wait. It rings in the ears of every Negro with piercing familiarity. This wait has almost always meant never. We must come to see with one of our distinguished jurists that justice too long delayed is justice denied," I end quote. Please, we were hoping to approve the linkage fees for the amount recommended by the city. But at this point, we'll take what we can and hopefully move forward and do a better job. So please vote yes to approve the linkage fee, and I hope it's amended to 15%. Council, thank you.
Our next speaker is Paula Morales, and on deck is Kelly Parsons Kiwatek.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I appreciate the conversation and the openness and willingness to address a need that is facing our community. I've lived in the Daytona Beach area for 25 years. I have paid into property taxes for 24 years. I worked 3 jobs to get my way through Embry-Riddle, graduated there with my bachelor's and my master's. I have 3 children in the Volusia County school system, one who will be graduating this year. I was married, all my pregnancies were planned, and as I said, I pay taxes. Right after COVID, I found myself a single parent with my income reduced by 60%. I have been a professional since I graduated with my bachelor's, and yet I found myself in the crosshairs of this affordable housing crisis. Fortunately, because I have family and because I had planned, I was okay and am recovering financially. But not everybody has those luxuries. I don't think it should be a requirement to have a bachelor's or a master's to be able to afford to provide safe housing for yourself and for your family, especially if you live and work in the community. The idea of linkage fees driving businesses away has come up. There is no data that shows that. Businesses will develop when they make money. If linkage fees are a deterrence, then that's not somebody that we want in our community. It will not deter business. Additionally, the residents that live here have to be able to afford to consume food, to consume products, services, energy. If our residents can't do that because they can't afford to live here, that's not going to impact the economy effectively in this area. So if my story doesn't resonate with anybody, I'm hoping that the economic framework does. Again, I appreciate the conversation that everyone has had. That is all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Our next speaker is Kelly Parsons Kiwatek, and on deck is Bob Rick. Mayor, Commission,
My name is Kelly Parsons Quietek. I'm the Chief Legal Officer at Halifax Health. Commissioner May has done an excellent job making a lot of the points that I plan to speak to you about, but I would like to go over them briefly. Halifax Health is a community-based healthcare system. We have 3 full-service hospitals and more than 60 medical specialties. We are a public hospital system with the mission of serving everyone, no matter what, regardless of ability to pay. We've served residents for over 95 years, and we're one of the area's largest employers with over 4,000 employees. Our team members need affordable housing. We agree on the what, but we don't agree on the how. We are concerned about the proposed linkage fee, especially when considering the rapidly changing and evolving healthcare industry. Managing ever-increasing costs while maintaining quality healthcare is a tremendous challenge year to year. Under the city's affordable housing study, we've established that healthcare facilities are under the office space at $2.20 per square foot, and that's on top of all the other fees that we would pay. To put this in perspective, we are currently building a freestanding emergency room in Daytona Beach, and in 2023, if we had to pay the linkage fees, Halifax Health would pay an additional $44,897.60 for this new facility, being the 4th largest contributor in 2023. Other fellow community institutions like Bethune-Cookman and Embry-Riddle would do the same. Embry-Riddle would actually have paid the most in 2023 at $143,000 for the CC and Hyatt Brown building. We enjoy a long-standing relationship with the city, a mutual partnership. What is striking me as this conversation has gone on is the linkage fee bucket in 2023 was $500,000. The proposal from the chamber suggests that 10% is about $469,000. That's about $500,000. So whatever the goal number is, you can do it in percentages. So wipe out the linkage fees and do 20% and you get about $1 million reoccurring fees, or do 30%, you get $1.5 million recurring fees. Then you're not opened up to all these legal challenges. You're not impacting your local long-time community partners. You can dedicate the money from this fee to anything you want, including repairs, which you can't do with linkage fees. So I just feel like there's a way to solve the problem by taking it in the percentage that the chamber has provided you, whatever that percentage is for whatever your goal is. We're very supportive of the goal, but we'd really like you to do it a different way, the chamber's way. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Bob Rand, and on deck is Sharna Granger.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for the work you do. I know this is a tough decision. My name is Bob Rand. I live at 136 Zaharia Circle in Daytona Beach, and I'm a commercial real estate broker. And we deal with talking about impact fees on a regular basis with our customers. No one disputes a need for this funding, and I think that the conversation has gone towards the need. Everybody knows there's a need for the funding. We just need to figure out how we're going to do it. When a new commercial development is coming into an area, they analyze the fee structures as part of the process in deciding where to go or if to come here. I fear that linkage fees can create a barrier to new job growth in Daytona Beach. Additionally, we've got impact fees coming up for review. I'm sure there's going to be an increase in impact fees. You layer that on top of linkage fees, and the numbers get really big for a new building coming in. The combination of the two, I think, could effectively create a moratorium on new commercial development. Broward County, they implemented linkage fees. They've suspended linkage fees because of the stifling effect that it had on business development. So with that, I want to add one thing. Keep in mind, the chamber plan is only funded by the commercial sector. The mayor said it very well. This is a we're all involved in this. And to target the business community to be the only source for funding is not fair. I don't support implementing both plans. I support the chamber plan. I do not support the linkage fees. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Shauna Granger, and on deck is Ted Hodecki.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Shauna Granger. I am a faith member as well as a BCU alumnus, as well as my husband. Back in 2022, I found that my husband and I, we were going to be bringing in a child. And from that time on, things kind of escalated in the last 2 years. The company I worked for 10 years was sold to an entity out in a different country, and they changed their benefits. All before I gave birth, from March through July, the benefits had changed to where the insurance company that I was using wouldn't cover a lot of the bills or expenses. There was a lot of confusion of who gets charged, and then when I went into labor, my husband had gotten an offer letter for a salaried teaching role. He had been trying to get into teaching for a long time, and he had to do training while I was in labor. Now, he was a teacher essentially for 3 weeks and was let go without reason, without cause, without explanation. And from that time on, we both have gone back and forth trying to get roles in employment and having that base of salary. Right now, my husband is still in education as a paraprofessional, only making $15.40 an hour, which is a slap in the face for a college graduate. You can't even get a salary role in this community. We live and we have lived in 32114. We currently live in 32117, and we're trying to provide for our son and have a place to where we can continue to stay. Ultimately, the expenses related to childcare fees is too much, so we had to move in our mother. We had to move from a 2-bedroom, 1 bath, where we had my brother, who is on the spectrum, living with us. We now have 3 generations living in a 4-bedroom, 2-bath house that costs about $3,000 a month. We are literally struggling, and I just hope that you all consider an adequate amount that would help the community to be able to stay where we are, because $15 an hour is not enough.
Our next speaker is Ted Hodecki, and on deck is Jim Campanero.
Hi, my name's Ted Hodecki, 113 Braddock Avenue. And one thing I do know, I live in the best city in Volusia County. I see both sides here. We're going to come to terms on this. And I hear a lot of things, it's like background noise about, lawyers, this and that. You know what do legal fees cost? Let's get through this. So I knew somebody got a hospital bill for $43,000. They were in there for a day or two. You know what? Businesses are going to come here, and we're going to continue to be a neighborhood. But if we don't have a strong community, you really don't. I don't know why anybody would want to come here. Right now, it's, we got to do what we have to do because we're not getting help from Tallahassee, and we're not gonna. County commission's on leave most of the time. We got to do it here, and we got to do it now because things might change. You don't know what kind of law they're going to come up with next, where they're going to come in and tell us, oh, they can build what they want. If you don't do this, we're going to build that. I've been hearing for a long time, Daytona is this, that, lucky to have them. Well, guess what? I think they're lucky to have us. So now it's time to come together as a community and solve our problems. We're not going to solve them all, but we're gonna get a good hit on it. And I'm proud to be a Daytona resident. And if you raise my taxes a little bit, I won't mind. I got a couple extra bucks I could kick in. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Joan Campanero, and on deck is William Biddle.
Hello, I'm Joan Campanero. I live at 721 Pelican Bay Drive. I attend Our Lady of Lourdes Catholic Church, and I'm a Justice Ministry Network member with Faith. I also serve on the board of the First Step Shelter, and I want to personally thank you for your support of that important work. This commission has been key in helping us meet our budgetary needs. As you all know, we do an amazing job at the shelter, helping those, our unhoused brothers and sisters. As of March, we have successfully housed approximately 50% of the greater than 1,800 members that entered our program. And HUD just recently gave us the updated numbers, and 93% of those housed individuals are still housed after 2 years. Unfortunately, the housing that is available and affordable is oftentimes in unsafe environments and exposes people to the vices that may have gotten them into homelessness in the first place. And as we just heard from the chamber presentation, oftentimes they're in a state of disrepair. Many of our homeless brothers and sisters have income even prior to coming to entering the shelter, but their incomes cannot meet or cover the $1,400 rent available in the city. Nor can they afford the first month, last month, and the security deposit. While in our program, we help them save up for these deposits, but perhaps with an affordable housing trust fund, some of these individuals would never have been homeless in the first place and needed to come into our shelter. I want to urge you tonight to adopt the linkage fees. Now, Faith is fine with the hospitals being exempted and even doing an update of the Nexus study, but we would like to see it approved. Additionally, we would love to see the chamber's plan at the 10% level being implemented. So I urge you to approve these and lead the way in our state. Thank you so much.
Oh, gosh. My name is William Biddle. I live at 402 East International Speedway Boulevard in Zone 3. Up on the East ISB corridor, it's been filled with graffiti. It's city property next to me. Of course, I complained. I got upset, and that I apologize because, Mr. Mayor, even being upset, I know how much you dedicate yourself to the city. So I didn't mean to come off that way. And Mr. Pietro, I also apologize. And Mr. Strickland, and pretty much everybody else in the commission. It's been like a graveyard of broken dreams. That's what I call East ISB. We've lost national chain after national chain. Denny's, close, boom. Subway, gone. It's derelict. We got Tiranog on the corner, of course, code thing. You got homeless people living in the back of it. So I've tried to bring national chains in. It's very difficult. It's very difficult for me. What I like to team up with my city commissioners and actually you, the mayor, is getting the graffiti cleaned up. I went around with some volunteers from my charity, and we were cleaning up graffiti that people were sticking on telephone poles, saying stuff about Doge needs to investigate my city, which I'm really offended by that, even though I am a Republican, and I know you all are honest and good, and you will stand up for the people. The linkage fee, I like it, but I don't in one way. It's already too hard for me to try to bring national chains as I made a promise to Steve Miller, I made a promise to you, and I made a promise to Mr. Strickland, and I made a promise to Mr. Fiatra too, is that I was gonna bring some chains in there, bring a development and do something positive. The one issue I've had is lost Aldi's due to the fact of I couldn't get the mess cleaned up next to me. That's water under the bridge. Let's do this thing, but let's not kill the small businesses. But just like in Broward County, they had to get rid of the linkage fees because it choked out business. The little things like not cleaning up our streets and our city lots also has hurt it. Now, if we don't have the money to do those things, it's really hard to outlay more money to do other things. Maybe there's a way that we can get it done as a community, like my friend said that came up before me, had an eloquent speech. And I'm sure that cooler heads will always prevail. Thank you.
We have a motion on the floor. And
1 second. Could we have any discussion at all before the motion?
sure, the motion is made, but we can have continued discussion.
Right.
Yes.
So a couple of things I just want to consider. Are we thinking that when so I'm trying to make this, I'm trying to get to your linkage fee. I'm trying to get there. I'm yes to the linkage fee, but I can really get there, okay? When is it paid? Is it paid in the beginning or in the end? Are they paid upon occupancy? Because if it's paid upon occupancy, that is a little bit different. The person, whoever is building it, is not paying upfront. If it's an upfront fee or is it a back end fee? That's kind of what I want to know first. How do we work it? Because I would advocate, I would go for a back end fee when it's done.
I believe it's at the beginning.
So they're starting
time
to
of
pay.
It's the time of permit.
I don't
Okay,
know.
that's the first thing. Second thing is the bit about square footage. If it's a building, we're doing this for housing, right? We're doing this for the workers. What if it's, we're not? Okay.
Yeah, for housing.
Okay, so we have workers. Okay, we have workers working in a building. What if the building is not producing workers? It's a building that's empty. It's used for storage, but it's still being built. There are no workers involved. Still being charged?
Once the permit is pulled.
Once the permit is pulled. So is there any consideration for that? Just curious. So let's be clear. I'm for the linkage fee. I've got no problem with it. Let me just start there. I'm just looking at details. That's all. Details. That's all. Okay? So that was 2 questions I had. The other thing is, it would be interesting to find out, what does the chamber think about, like, what, if we said to them, what is the percentage you could do, right? What they would say. I'd be curious to see what they would say if we said, what is the percentage you're looking at with the other side of it? What I really like is the other equation, the chamber equation, because we can use it for roofs, we can use it for repairs, we can keep people in their homes, we can expand their homes. So another option for affordable housing, it's not just new homes, it's also, can I expand my current home and have family members living more comfortably in my existing home, which we could actually do with the other plan.
But
So
you're
I'm looking at
referring
that.
to the second plan.
Exactly.
And the staff will bring us back a proposal for that. We're not going to address that in this.
So part of it to me is that if we're doing really well with the chamber side, it changes parameters for me. But as of right now, the 25% reduction, I could go with that. But I think the chamber's plan, to be honest with you, allows me to keep people living with family members, but a lot more comfortably, allow them to expand. We allow people to do additions to their homes. We have our extra additions as well. We have multiple people living together, but it can be done better. It can be done more shared housing in a better way with the other plan, which also helps affordable housing, just so we're clear.
But I also want to remind us of the fact that even when Commissioner Paris spoke earlier about helping citizens or residents to build wealth, the number one way to gain access to the middle class is through home ownership. It's the number one way. And the essence of the American dream is home ownership. So this side of the equation is a very important part of the equation. And when you think about the work that's being done at Mid-Florida Housing, the work that's being done with the folks at Homes Bring Hope, we're going to be able to continue to do that work. And I will also add to this commission, I want to add that probably the most well-received public communication that I have with residents via social media or in person comes from when we aid folks in gaining access to affordable housing and home ownership. Home ownership is probably the number one expression of gratitude that I receive for my service as mayor, which tells me that the residents in this community value seeing that transpire and appreciate our participation as a city in that endeavor.
To be clear, the linkage fee can only be used one way, correct?
New construction.
That's the only way. But the chamber way can be used, it's more holistic, it's a more complete approach.
That's why I would like both. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions or comments? We have a motion on the floor and a second. Yes, ma'am.
I do agree with home ownership is the way to generational wealth, but we don't even know how we're going to spend this money. If it's for only making homes, single family homes, and also these programs that are out there that are providing these homes to people, they can't even find enough qualified people to get into these homes. So I just want to bring that to everyone's attention too.
By that statement, Commissioner Paris is correct. By qualified, we also look at credit scores when they're doing this particular work. And also sometimes people fall. Now, if we could use, so hypothetically, Jess, I'm thinking, if we could use the chamber approach, think about this, to close the gap, and this is a real life situation, between people who fall in that $53,000 threshold, but they make $55,000. There's a certain threshold you have to meet. And if you go above the threshold by a few $1,000s, you cannot actually qualify for the program. So if we could use their funds as a bridge fund, okay, now we're talking. But I don't think we can use it that way on the linkage fee. I don't think it'll work that way. But the chamber way, I think it would work. Can they use it as a bridge? Mr. Thomas?
Yeah.
Can they use the linkage fee as a bridge fund?
Mm-hmm.
You know that portion of housing that if you make too much, you just don't qualify?
Repeat your question. There's Ken Thomas, redevelopment director.
Right. So there is a cap that you hit, and let's say you hit that cap and you go over. Can you get a home at that point to qualify for some of the programs?
No, there's an income requirement in order to qualify for down payment assistance. That's what we're doing.
And the income requirement is not you make too little, it's you make too much. Or is it you make too little?
It could be that you make too much and you don't qualify for the program.
So there's this group of people who fall into that category. They're actually trying to improve their lot in life. It's just not enough to make it here, but it's too much here.
But when you work with a program, when you work with various programs, do all the programs have the same criteria, or can we? Because these would be funds that we would have, and I think we're getting into the weeds.
But my point is, Commissioner Paris is right. There are some people who fall into
qualify.
that. She's absolutely right.
Okay.
Yes.
As long as we don't, this program, as long as you don't exceed 120% of the median income, you can extract money for this program for people in this community.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Do we have any other questions or comments? All right. We have a motion on the floor. Is Commissioner Reed with us? Yes. We're going to entertain a roll call vote.
Okay. Commissioner Reed?
Yes.
Commissioner Paris?
No.
Commissioner Strickland?
Yes.
Commissioner May?
Yes.
Commissioner Cantu?
No.
Commissioner Henry?
Yes.
Mayor Derek L. Henry?
Perhaps the most grateful yes of my political career. No. Yes. No, it's supposed to be a yes or no answer. But yes, passes 5-2. Well, thank you for working hard to get to a place where you could say yes. And you worked hard, and I appreciate working with you, as rough as it was. But what I want to say is that this work is compromising. And as rough as this is, and for those of you who didn't support it, it's not that you didn't support it, you just don't support the methodology. And that we fully understand. I for 100% understand that. And I am equally as appreciative of your engagement tonight and in the political process as I am for those who supported this project. What I would ask all of us to do moving forward is to continue to think of more ways to be successful in this endeavor, and to realize that there may be additional changes, more additions. And I would say that I believe that we still need staff to bring forth a new study, because that is something that we've asked for, and that is something that I think that moving forward so that we can be more successful in addressing affordable housing, that we would have, because we've asked for it, so let's do it. But thank you, and congratulations to the community and to the residents of Daytona Beach who will be the beneficiaries of this project. All right.
So we're going to move on to item number 10, which is our introduction of ordinances. So,
Is it the next commission meeting? We're gonna have impact fees, talk about impact fees too now?
There will be a workshop. Yeah.
Wow.
And staff will bring the other portion of the chambers portion next time. Yeah.
Okay, so item 10A is the Growth Management and Planning Department, First Amendment to the ERAU West Plan District Agreement. This is an introduction of an ordinance on first reading. An ordinance amending the zoning map of the Land Development Code to rezone 6.58 plus or minus acres of property generally located at the northwest and southwest corners of South Clyde Morse Boulevard, South Bellevue Avenue intersection from M3 General Industrial to PDG Plan Development General, approving the First Amendment to the Embry-Riddle Research Park West Plan District Agreement, incorporating the property rezoned into the Plan District and authorizing development of the property, authorizing the mayor and the city clerk to execute the First Amendment and providing an effective date. And are there any questions or comments from the commission on this item?
No.
Hearing none, the public hearing and final action is set for May 7th. So we're going to move on to item number 11, which is our administrative items. Item 11A is City Manager's Office. This is Code Enforcement Board appointment. So this is a resolution that's going to appoint one member to the Code Enforcement Board to fill a term ending August 23rd, 2025, I believe it's supposed to be, and providing an effective date. This is to fill out the term of Tom Mehagan, and then they can would be able to run again in August. We have two applicants, Colleen Cullinan and Beth Rodabaugh, and you all have a ballot in front of you, except for Commissioner Reed, who can tell me over the phone who they would like to vote for. So this is just one position. We have two applicants. And remember, we had a third applicant that had withdrawn.
Does that matter?
I'm sorry?
What zone are they in?
It doesn't matter. It's not zone specific.
I know, but what zone are they?
I don't know off the top of my head. It would be in your backup on the.
Colleen is 419 Reebok Avenue.
That's Beachside. That's
Three.
Beachside
But
3.
that might have been before the change.
Reebok is down on Strickland's way.
She's
South,
215
south.
Mornings Avenue.
Morningside Avenue.
Mm-hmm. That's her last name.
That's you, okay.
Colleen.
The above Beachside?
One zone 3, one zone 2. I don't know if they're mainland or beachside. Yep. So if you can fill out your ballot and pass it down to me. Thank you for putting your name. And Commissioner Reed, I'm going to start with you. Commissioner Reed?
Yes, I'm here. I'm trying to say the name right.
You can do
Is it
first
Reed?
names.
I don't know them personally to say a first name.
There's
Is it Reed? Go ahead.
There's Colleen or Beth.
Beth.
Okay. Stacy Cantu, Colleen. Commissioner Henry, Colleen. Commissioner Paris, Colleen. Mayor Henry, Beth. Juanita May, Colleen. And Ken Strickland, Beth.
Colleen wins 4-3.
Okay. So may I have a motion to appoint Colleen?
To move that Colleen makes the code enforcement board.
Who made the motion?
Commissioner May.
Second.
Who's the second?
Commissioner Strickland? No. Do I have a second?
I need a second.
Second.
Okay.
Commissioner Cantu. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.
6-1.
Whoa, 6-1. We have a 6-1 motion carries. Commissioner Strickland.
I got it. He's allowed to.
Okay.
Okay, we're going to move on
I
to.
have something on this.
Okay.
Honorable Mayor and Commissioners, I had a conversation with Commissioner Paris earlier. There was some concern about the actual makeup and what are the requirements of the Environment Advisory Board, and she was the one that's been pushing for us to bring this back. She wanted to be able to look at the some of the minutes from the meeting and talk with our legal department to make sure of what this board actually could do and required to do. And so she was going to be asking if we could just continue this particular item to the next commission meeting to allow for a discussion, for her to also meet with some of her members that she appointed to the charter review. Is that accurate?
That is correct.
So if you all would like to allow for that to be continued.
Absolutely.
I'd like for it to be continued.
Make a motion to continue.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this item to the next meeting.
Second.
Got a motion. We'll take it from Commissioner Paris, second from Commissioner May. All those in favor, let it be noted by saying aye.
Aye.
Those who are opposed, same sign. Motion carries 7-0.
Okay. That was our last agenda item for this evening. And I believe we start with Commissioner Reed tonight.
Commissioner Reed, the mayor has allowed for me. I would like to let everyone know, Fred, if you would come up. I think he has some colleagues out there in the lobby area, or in the room, if they would come on out. Tonight is Fred's last meeting with the city of Daytona Beach. Fred is semi-retiring from the city of Daytona Beach. We wanted to, the staff was here with him. We are having a celebration for him on Friday for staff and commissioners to come in on Friday for a lunch. But wanted to thank Fred for his service to the city of Daytona Beach, and also his service to the profession from the county and the city levels, and allow for him to address the commission one last time as an employee. DeLand is concerned that now he has more time to come and address them at the meeting where he's going to be living full time. So go ahead, Fred.
I've been here for probably 11 years or close, something like that. And I wanted to say I really enjoyed being here with all of you and working together and hoping to get the budgets in line with your needs and your requirements. So thank you very much for putting up with me.
Thank you, Fred. It's funny that Letitia just actually stated this is the shortest speech we have ever heard Fred say in his entire career. If you're in our staff meetings, some people are looking at me like, are you going to stop him? But
Fred, that's kind of sucks to hear that, to be honest, because it's just like once you get used to someone and accustomed to them, I just appreciate you.
I think you'll appreciate the new budget officer. From what little I've met with her, she'll do great here.
Okay.
And she's starting on Monday, so y'all will enjoy being with her.
Okay.
Natalia asked me to stick around to help get the budget through the July 15th deadline, so I'll be working part-time for getting there.
On behalf
I don't know if I'll be coming to these meetings, but because I'm hourly now afterwards, so
Yeah, well,
save y'all some money if I go home.
well, thank you for all that you've done, and we appreciate you. Wow. Okay, good job. Okay, Commissioner Reed?
Yes, sir. I'd like to begin by also thanking Fred for his service through the 11 years, how he's provided for us. I just want to remind you all about the Easter Beach Run is coming up this weekend, and the next weekend is the Crab and Seafood Festival at Daisy Stocking Park from 11 a.m. until 9 p.m. on Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune Boulevard. Then join us for the Midtown Concert in Daisy Stocking Park featuring L.A. Robinson and Street Life. And tonight has been an interesting night. And once again, my colleagues and I have made a decision, and we will move forward and stand by it. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Paris. I'm looking around at a count.
The Daytona Beach Housing Fair is going to be on the same day, so April 26th at the Allen Chapel AME Church at 580 George Ingram Boulevard, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So you could stop by there before you go to the Seafood Festival. So if you have any questions on credit, foreclosure, need any kind of housing advice, Daytona Beach is a sponsor. So I hope you come out and get your questions answered. And that's all for me tonight. Thank you.
Very nice. Yes,
I kind of missed all the traffic and the people with after the cheerleaders left town. I got used to it, they swarming around everywhere like ants. It means money for our city, for our businesses, and we need to embrace that. I hear from people that have lived here less than 10 years that complained about bike week noise and traffic and how many people are here and it's just busy. And I think they should have done more research before they moved here, because if they had moved here or lived here back during the mid-90s, early 90s or late 90s and early 2000s, the traffic we've been having recently is absolutely nothing compared to what we used to deal with. And I'm sure you can look at our beachside, look at our city. We miss the money that we used to get. One other thing: did we or did we not approve the proto group to put a cap on the north tower or what's there? They came in, cut off some rebar. I haven't seen them do anything over there lately. And again, the barrier that they're supposed to keep on the fence is either blown away or been taken down. So if we could get code or whoever to speak with them again to put that back, because it looks like, what. So anyway, it'd be nice if they're not going to build on it, at least keep it looking like a decent construction site. With that, I'll be quiet. Y'all have a great night.
You too, sir. Thank you.
Commissioner, I forgot
May.
something. Okay. May I? The fire station 1, I just want to know what the procedure is for the current station, if we have to put out an RFP before, because I think they said they're going to be in by May 2026. So if we could be, I don't know how it works, can we be proactive and get some
After your discussion
ideas?
you had with me, we pulled the committee together to start working on the RFP to bring back to you all to send out of what type of product we want there. So after our meeting, your agenda prep, I did bring our team together.
Okay, thank you.
I'd like to know from Commissioner Paris, how often will the 150th anniversary shindig, how often will the committee members be meeting?
That's a good question. I don't know.
Are they meeting quarterly? Are they meeting weekly? It impacts my choice. They wanted some more parameters in terms of time frame, exactly how much time it would take.
I believe, if I recall correctly, I'll have to look at the resolution. I believe it was at least quarterly. It
Okay.
could meet more often than that.
Okay. And they would be, are they an advisory group or are they actually creating the event? So is the city creating the events and they're an advisory group?
The city's creating the event and they're assisting us with that creation
Potential
of the event.
concept.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're going to have them, one thing that we talked about was having them like look at the VIP event that they were talking about and different aspects, how to put together the packages to entice people to contribute, things like that. So
Okay. All right. But it's once a quarter at least.
at least once a quarter.
Okay, fantastic. So that's the first one to know about. Thank you so much. Then I just want to say that I went to the Jackie Robinson ballpark event. I won't discuss it. Mr. Mayor can discuss it. I was there with Mr. Strickland, city manager, mayor was there. That was a really, really good event. Pleasant afternoon, pleasant evening, and then they were in town the entire week and really well attended. I live very close by, very well attended, so they're doing a great job. So I'm appreciating seeing the renovations. Still of concern is what happens to the volleyball courts. I drive by there every day and I still see people playing out there, which is they love it, and summertime is coming. So what do we do with the volleyball courts while we're renovating? Will they still be active? Are we going to expand them? Is our intent to possibly expand the courts to 2?
That was part of the discussions, but the actual volleyball courts are not being removed yet.
Okay. And then also the following evening, 2 days later possibly, I went to an event in the park, which should be the Sunset Concert. So I'm deeply envious of Commissioner Reed's events at Cypress Park. And so it was nice to see some events taking place in our park at the Esplanade. Well attended, seating, tables, chairs, nice crowd of people, pleasant evening. And then people actually strolled as well. Some people were sitting on the sidewalk. They didn't want to come into the park, so they just sat. I mean, how do you stop that? They sat outside, enjoyed the music, but it was a very, very pleasant evening all the way through. So thank you so much, and I hope to support more of the events, the musical events. Thank you so much also for supporting the Filipino American Association. I really, really, really enjoy cultural events. So this year, hopefully, we can include them in some of our marketing, and hopefully we can attend. They would love to have us there. Thank you.
Do you have the date?
I'm going to say it's June 12th to 13th, but I can find out in a second.
Okay, I'm going to see if I can get
It's
that on my
usually around their
schedule.
Independence Day, so I can check right now.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, and I'll see if I can get it on my calendar. I'd like to attend. Okay. Commissioner Cantu?
I wanted to say a few things. The county meeting last night, they voted 7-0. I can't even talk. See, I'm tired. You probably heard it. From auditorium to ISB, the beach, opening it back up. So what they are going to do is see what legislative will say, and then they're coming to Daytona for our opinion. So it might be a discussion that we should start talking about, because it did go through 7-0.
Okay, good deal.
Commissioner Cantu, the county manager did contact me today because he said that was discussed. So he was asking for us to do some type of workshop so he can communicate. But he's going to also have their attorney, I think, contacted Ben, because there may be some legal matters in regards to how much property owners own into the sand as well, even though people at the county are trying to push it.
They scheduled a conversation for next week when Ben comes back. So it's on the calendar.
Okay, it is on the calendar,
Yeah.
yeah. So I just know they were discussing that we need to start talking about it and see what we think. I'm going to give my personal opinion now, because I grew up here. I mean, I've been here as long, well, you guys probably were born here, so a little bit longer, but I've been here over 50 years, and I remember the band shell. And when you could drive I remember when you could drive at night and go up to the band shell. But we did have a lot of traffic. I don't know if that was just the time, or, I mean, it did bring in a lot of people in that area on Main Street. So I just want to give my 2 cents. Another thing, while I was sitting here just a few minutes ago, the Senate Bill 102, the expansion of that, Senate Bill 1730, kind of bad news for me, but there's 40 senators, took 30 minutes. The Senate voted 36-0 for that expansion. And
Expansion of
of Senate Bill 102.
What's 102?
Senate Bill 1730.
What is that?
That's the expansion. They were taking more home rule away. And one thing that's bad for me is a proposed development on a parcel of land primarily developed and maintained as a golf course, a tennis court, or a swimming pool, regardless of the zoning category assigned to such parcel, may use the approval process provided for the affordable housing. Yeah.
So they're extending live local to golf courses.
Oh, they extended it a lot more. Density, no parking requirements, I mean, just not golf courses, and it passed 36-0.
We just want to incentivize it.
Next step is the governor signing it. So we are losing on everything, pretty much. So I just got that a few minutes ago. I have some good news, and it was a fun event. And I never actually talk about events that I really go to, but I had a good time, actually. It was kind of like all the perceived benefits, went to the Museum of Arts of Science, and we did like this little modeling thing for peppers and women, and I had fun. I never done that before, and I was like, so it was a good time. But that's it.
All right. Commissioner Henry?
Just one or two comments, and that is, one, I want to thank everyone up here because we kept it very respectful tonight, even though we didn't all agree on the goal that we were trying to get to. And it's a lot of places it's not respectful. You see it all over the place, all over TV, and it's crazy. I just wanted to say that I'm very excited about the linkage fees and the affordable housing. I ran on affordable housing 2 times. So I know that we all have to do what we feel is best for the people that we represent. So some people in certain zones, it may not be what they particularly want. So they let their commissioner know this is not something that I particularly want. My residents particularly wanted affordable housing, needed affordable housing. And so I'm happy to be able to, that we're delivering on affordable housing for the people who need it.
Congratulations. Yeah.
Those are my only comments for tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Again, we agree, and my sentiments tonight are simply, my sentiments tonight is simply to say thank you to the residents of Daytona Beach for allowing me to serve in my hometown. When all is said and done, and I rest my head on the pillow and retire from this service, it is my simple hope that the community that I was born and raised in will be slightly better. And I firmly believe that that was the effort that we engaged in tonight, just to make it better. And hopefully that happens. Mr. Manager, do you have anything?
I have nothing other than thanks for the help from my staff, the legal staff, as well as the city staff in terms of getting us through this week, as we've had a lot of situations, personal situations with of the attorney staff in terms of their personal lives, and so it was a little tight. Okay. But I thought Miss appreciated Kira taking this time out and really putting the work in that she put in to be able to address your concerns. She was out dealing with some matters with her father, and so she went ahead and sacrificed. And so I just wanted to make a public appreciation on that. And other than that, y'all have a good night.
Yeah, and that you say that you never know what folks are going through, and they persevere and get their jobs done despite that, and so it's appreciated. Now, at this time, we will hear from the greatest residents on the planet, the residents of Daytona Beach.
Okay, is there a Renee David? Okay, John Nicholson? And on deck is Cynthia Slater. Is she here?
She's gone.
Thomas Russell is on deck after John. Okay.
John Nicholson, 413 North Grandview Avenue. First thing on my list was what Stacy brought up. Last night at a late meeting, the Main Street Merchants Association came before the county. Their premise is all of their problems stem from the taking cars off the beach. They forget the idea that they couldn't work with Jim Chisholm on anything to do with Main Street. 2, the boardwalk isn't there anymore. There's 3 businesses. They've lost 9 reasons to go to that area. So even if we put driving back on the beach, if you have no reason to go to that area, why do they expect people to go there? They will go there literally to park and not do anything because there is nothing left on the beach. That McDonald's has been gone for years. The burger joint has been gone for years. So the reason to go there doesn't exist. What they need to do is concentrate on getting events, getting bodies, getting people to Main Street. Not talking to you, they should have come to you first. Because you own 60% of the land facing that section of the beach. They have not talked to the 3 hotels that are there, whether they would agree to it or not. So they literally are doing this, pardon my French, ass backwards. They really should have gone to you all first and then decided if you all are backing it, then they'll go forward with it. Secondly, Joe's Crab Shack pays $600,000. Does that go into the general fund or does it go into the CRA?
The Business Enterprise Fund.
It goes to the business enterprise. So it doesn't go to Beachside. All right. Because Jim Chisholm did the same thing with the lot that the CRA owned. He took the money and then took the rent for it out of the CRA every year anyway. So we lost money that direction. Impact fees. That's $10,000. So now, if we do this thing that the chamber wants, we're going to get hit with 3 additional tax increases. That's devastating. So I'm asking you to think, which I don't like, is to go 10, 20 years without increasing. We did that with our water bills. Now every year, we don't have to worry about arguing whether we should go up or not because it's done automatically.
It's too much.
So going every 5 years, take a look at increasing impact fees or do it very minimal impact fee increases, but not 12 years.
Our next speaker is Thomas Russell, and I believe Amy Powell has left. I believe William Biddorf has left, and on deck is Marjorie Johnson. I think she's still out there.
603 North Beach Street. The original North Beach Street. First of all, I'd like to say I appreciate all the effort the commissioners, the mayor, city manager put into these meetings that you have. I've sat here tonight and watched it go on and on and on, and hopefully you've accomplished something that's positive. I'm beating my same old drum. Baloo Road, CRA. I feel that everyone here is guilty of not participating and following up on things. I mentioned it the first time, and I'm bringing up an old story. The payroll percentage charged or budget for the 24-25 was downtown. Payroll was 7.7%. I say payroll and accessory charges. Main Street, 9.5%. Midtown, 14.9%. If any place should have got help, they should have. South Atlantic, 2.1%. Baloo Road, 64% of its budget went to payroll.
Does anybody understand that? Now, I have heard the city manager say he doesn't sign off on anything unless 3 or 4 people have okayed it. He has nothing to do with this. All right? Is that true, Mr. City Manager? You don't have anything to do with that budget. All right? Mr. Mayor, you have a responsibility to the commissioners, and the commissioners, nobody looks at it. I sat here and watched everybody vote on a budget that had one CRA paying $187,000 out of 290. Right? If Mr. Fletcher came to anybody with that kind of number, or anybody came to him, he'd get rid of them. All right? The money is being diverted. Okay? And it's been done for 5 years. It's almost $1 million. Nothing has been done in that CRA. There's a park that is 50% destroyed up there by the bridge. Beautiful park. Nothing's done. There's sidewalks that are missing. I just spoke to the city manager and he said everybody wants too much for it. Well, with $1 million, you could buy some of it, but you guys aren't doing your job. That's all I got to say. We're concerned about well-being. We're concerned about getting votes and helping the people. But this is money that has been designated for something, and I'm over.
Sir,
Thank you for your time.
Sir, I'm going to say it again. You're absolutely correct. I'm going to say it again. You are absolutely correct.
Thank you. Ms. May, you used, oh, I can't talk anymore.
Yes, you're done.
Unless you ask me a question.
No. Good night. Our next speaker is Marjorie Johnson, and is there a Tenor Darrington still here? Okay, our last speaker tonight is Marjorie.
Okay, the most critical issue facing Midtown during every storm is the flooding. And we need a plan and some corrective action with a successful solution. The library there on Key Street must be renovated after each storm. They lose all the books and everything in the library. And I served on the library board at the county level. Also the Children's Services Board and the Human Services Board. We have discrimination here in the city. When I applied for boards, I never got an appointment. Hardcore discrimination, and it needs to be corrected. Also tonight, I'm here to address the fact that the building on Orange Avenue down by the chamber is still standing. It needs to be tore down, or you should have renovated it. You've been sitting here going round and round in circles, and you have done nothing for that building. I discussed it with the commissioner here on the podium. She's missing an answer, no response for nothing. At the last city commission meeting, she tried to tell me how to pronounce his name. So when I'm speaking at this podium, I don't need Paula Reed or nobody telling me how to pronounce anything. She needs to do her job. She's not meeting with the residents. She had a meeting with me. She didn't show up. She said, oh, let's set up another meeting. That was 6 years ago, and she never did. So she's missing in action. And I have a report card on all of you. She get FFF for failure. And since you got here, she's gotten worse. She's telling you not to chastise you. That's not her job. She is not meeting with her constituents. I had some people call me the other day, say she had a meeting with them and she didn't show up. At the last seafood festival, she came here putting erroneous information in the meeting by hearsay, but somebody said she wasn't there, so you people are going to get a lawsuit. She shouldn't be putting erroneous information in the records. Also, I'd like to say to you, Derek Future, that you should be about the people's business. I've been trying to get a meeting with you to discuss some of these issues, and nothing has happened. So we have issues that need to be resolved here. We are paying all of you money to do your job that you're getting paid to do. And so We need some improvements to happen here. The major issue is the flooding problem, that you people have not successfully addressed it. And the people lost everything in their houses over there on Sheet Street, and the library had to go in and steal all the books, the carpet, everything. So do your job, make it happen.
Good night, Daytona Beach.